readers. Welcome back to the Toppling TBR. I'm Stacey.
And I'm Hannah. And today we are finishing Brimstone. We get to say goodbye to this world for a little while. All right. So we left off on our last podcast where Saris had just sealed her Quicksilver rune. All of Belicon's men had come through the portal and, they blasted her into the wall. And
Right.
Kingfisher and Carrion showed up with Hayden. So
Yes.
now, officially, chapter 29 is Fortune of the Universe. It is a Saris chapter.
It is indeed.
Hayden is in Avelia. Finally, he's sleeping off, the after effects of going through the Quicksilver. Osiris's guilt is kind of gnawing at her for the last thing that she said to him, calling him a burden and all of that. So they all
Right.
go back to college. Although Cyrus only had a few scratches, we learned that Helena was unable to heal her. Her
Yeah.
magic was just kind of rolling off of her. Found that
Yeah.
interesting. So Taylena tells Cyrus, she needs to go get some rest. Cyrus goes back to Kingfisher's room where she encounters all the fire sprites working and frantically running around, and they're being super formal. And she tells him, call me Cyrus and respectfully chill out. And we also see a young fire sprite pick up a little Kingfisher ornament, and we learn that it was Adina's favorite, and that is actually how he got his name.
It's so cute.
It was cute. And then Kingfisher arrives, dumping out 5 pounds of sand out of his boots from Zilvarin.
Yep.
And he sees that she had split Solace into 2 swords, and he loves it. He calls them
Yeah.
beautiful, which
Yeah.
I know she was a little hesitant about doing, so I liked that. Their names are Aramar, which means mercy, and Selenar, which means honor.
I'm so glad that you had to say the names of those swords because I was practicing and I'm like,
There's a couple names in here that are a little difficult for me, but that's not too bad. We also learn because whenever what was his name? Aureus came through. He was like, oh, by the way, all of your Fae people are oath-bound to Belicon. So we learned that oath-sworn Fae cannot break their oaths,
nope.
but Belicon cannot reach them behind the wards. So
Yeah.
Kalish and Amontreath are safe zones.
Goodness.
Yes. And Sarah says that this is a random little thing that I found was cute. Sarah says that the way that Kingfisher loves her is his weakness, but he says it's his strength, which is
Uh-huh.
so big of him because he spent his entire life suppressing his softness, and we really see him turn into a little softy in this book.
It
Yeah,
does.
and then
Oh,
other random things that I had noted throughout this chapter is that Kingfisher now has a tattoo of a fox on his collarbones. How cute that she's got a little kingfisher and he's got a little fox. They both have each other kind of depicted on them.
it's so cute.
And that Saris's veins are now metallic silver since she has
Yeah.
sealed her rune. Badass.
That is so true.
And, I just love this chapter was great. And I feel like Kingfisher's been opening up more and more throughout the book, but he was so playful. He was like, are you ticklish? Threatening to tickle her, just
I
being
know.
so lighthearted.
I love it. I really like seeing how he has changed since Quicksilver.
Yeah, I do too. Why? My only question in this one is why do you think Telena was unable to heal Saris?
Wondered if it was because she's part vampire. Like, I didn't know. Because they don't have healers there, so vampires clearly don't need them. So I don't know
Yeah.
if anyone's ever, tried to heal a vampire.
Yeah, and I was thinking I thought that at first too, but I wanna go back and see if she's done any minor healing since she's turned, because this is also right after she
Yeah.
sealed her Quicksilver rune. So I'm wondering if it has to
Right.
do with that, because I know it was very difficult to work with the Quicksilver over all the years with Kingfisher, and they actually needed
Yeah.
Isabeau's help.
Yeah,
So
that's
maybe now
it.
that she is of Quicksilver, that has something to do with it?
Yeah, maybe. I guess they didn't really say anything about that, did they, as
Yeah,
to why? 'Cause I did put I made a note saying, "That's weird."
yeah, and
Mm.
also unfortunate if she really needs some healing in the future. That's all I got on that one.
Yeah, you covered that nicely. I did right. I was like, Kingfisher here, they are grossly sweet with each other. Like,
They
it
are.
was kinda getting to the point now, it's, sickly, it's so lovey-dovey and
They're
sweet, whereas before
so
they were always at each other's throats, and it's so different. I kinda
fun.
like it, though.
I do too, it's sweet. It's just it's the extremes
Yeah.
from this end of the spectrum all the way over here. Like, there's I do miss the tension a little bit.
Yeah.
I like the buildup, I like the tension, but I
Yeah.
really enjoyed she writes their love, and she writes their sex scenes really well, so
Yeah.
it's alright.
I completely agree with you there. I miss some of their wittier banter that they had
I
in
do
the first
but we're
book.
getting it with other characters, though, so at least we've got it,
Yeah.
like, with Tyrion and Kingfisher and all of that.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess it's a really different dynamic now, and it kind of changed quite abruptly for me. It didn't
It
feel
did.
didn't really I don't know. I kinda like it, though. I'm like,
I do
"Oh,
too.
he's so cute." I'm a big hopeless romantic. That's who
Same.
I am in my soul. No, I love it. I love it. Okay, ready for chapter 30?
Yes.
This one's called Leash, and this is Ceres's point of view. Archer wakes them up, stating that Taylena needs their help, and Ceres is obviously panicking because she thinks it has something to do with Hayden, and it's not. It's Evelyn, and she is attacking Taylena. So they send Danya to go find Laura, guessing it's going to take an army to get her off of her. So Taylena can't say what's wrong with her exactly, but she said she can feel some kind of like a shadow. Her soul is all dressed in shadows. And I'm like, fucking hell, that's really ominous. Like her soul has got like shadows on it.
I have a theory on that, but I'm not gonna bring it up until the end because I don't wanna jump ahead, but we'll get
Okay, let's do that. So she's saying that her mind is not her own and she can't be reached. But she's like talking to people and they don't know what the heck is going on with her. Now, Ceres touches her hand and Lane starts to say, the gate is open, it cannot be closed. And I'm like, what the fuck? Kingfisher is obviously like, I can't handle this. I can't handle this. Like, there is so much shit going on right now that I wouldn't be able to handle it, I don't think either. And now the gang, like, I'm calling them the gang for the most part. So if I
yeah,
meet
I call
all
them the crew. I say her crew or
the
our
crew, oh,
crew.
there you go, crew. That's another good one too. They're starting to wonder if it's the rot, but it's really hard to know at this point what exactly is wrong. But I guess if you have a theory, I'm excited to hear what you have to say about that at the end. So they need to see how far the rot has now spread. They've decided that they are going to abandon the border and go back to Amatrea for all the books. That's where they all are, and Ceres needs them. Carrie's like, what am I going to do? Melt snow? I was fucking laughing my ass off. He's always got something snarks to say. And Fisher's like, nope, come with me. And it's funny because I'm just going to point this out now, but I noticed the way Kingfisher has changed his opinion on Carrion as it gets on. And when somebody asks him about it later on, he says he's a friend. And
I
I was like,
know.
and I love it. I love it. I love it so much. It's
Same.
like a big thing for me right now is like Fisher and Carrion.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite parts of this book.
The bromance is beautiful. I love it. I can't wait to see how it adapts in the next book.
I
Oh, that
know.
can jump ahead. So anyway, they're on their way to go back to Amatrea, and the door to the tomb has been locked. So Fisher has to like boot fuck it through. And the guards are like, we weren't trying to keep you out. We're trying to keep Pelicon's men out. And I was like, were you? So Fisher's like, I'm going to go find Foley. And he sends Ceres to go find Tao to find out what the fuck's going on. I love this because Carrion is absolutely ribbing Ceres because everybody stops to bow. And he's like, for somebody who likes to be so anonymous, he's like, every time someone walks by, she has to bow. And she's like, I loathe it. And he's like, you can see it's like, ha ha. And I'm like, well, there's a good chance you're going to get your crown. People are going to do it to you too. So she's going to go, ha ha, back at ya. I can't wait for that. And the gang have been talking about what to do with like the court, right? And Ceres actually wants to give them a chance to try and redeem themselves, like rather than being eradicated, because the rest of them just want to, be done with it. Just destroy everybody and get rid of them all. And I really like that Ceres shows such humanity here. Even though she's not human anymore, she shows such compassion for the blood court. And I really loved that. That was something I noted there. So Carrion's like, how are we going to find Tal in this hellscape? And I love that he called it that. And she's like, I know where he is. And then she has to explain that they're linked so she can feel him and know where he is, because that's her sire. She was like, so what does it feel like? And she's like a leash. Which I guess is the reason for the chapter being called that. Oh, and I hate this bitch. Zovena. I hate her so much. And she literally stops them from knocking on Tao's door. And Ceres is like side-eyeing her because now, like, we know why Tao became a vampire, right? And that she abandoned him. We just don't know the logistics at this point, but I can't fucking stand this bitch. And they literally square off. And this is my favorite part in this whole chapter. She's like, I want to know if it's incest, if you sleep with your maker, like your daddy, your father figure, and fucking Savannah loses out. And I fucking was laughing so hard, man. And they literally throw down, right? They throw right down. But Ceres manages to put a leash on that bitch. And I love that. And then we learn that Zovena she's the one that deals with all the missives that come in and out. And she's the reason that Foley wasn't getting any of his letters. Yeah. And she was like, do you have them? She's like, yes, I do. And she's like, you're going to bring him to him. He's like, he can come fetch him from me. Fuck no. You're going to
go get it. I'm your queen.
Yeah, you're going to do as you're fucking told. And I was so mad. And then Tao comes to the door. He's covered in blood and he's got a fucking boner. Yep. He's like, you're making me look like a bad host.
Love it. I actually enjoyed that chapter.
Oh, that chapter was just absolutely packed full of stuff.
Yes, it
Packed.
was. It was. A few things that I noted in that chapter is that so whenever they are run to Everlane in the beginning, right? Carrion and Danya were both there at the same time, and I think that it was mm, that she worded it the way she did to make us wonder if they're hooking up
Yeah.
because Danya was like near Carrion's rooms. But we know that if they were hooking up, that Kingfisher and Saris would have mentioned the smell, right? They
Yeah.
always mention the smell. So I'm wondering what they were doing or why she was up there. Random
Yeah,
that I
'cause
noticed that
yeah, 'cause she does say, like, they're like, "Why are you up here?" She's like, "Just minding my business."
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. She was up
and
to
then
something, who the fuck knows? Maybe she was
and
just, like, sneaking around, keeping an eye on him because she wants something
maybe,
to happen. I
I
don't
don't know,
know.
maybe nothing's
I
happened
still don't
yet, but
like
they're
her.
like, leading up to it.
Yeah, like, the flirting and the,
Yeah.
"Oh, I bumped into you by accident."
Although with how forward both of them are, I can't imagine that they need any kind of warm up.
No, this is very, very true, but I think that they're worried about what the rest of them will say about
Maybe.
it. Like, I don't like it.
Another thing that I mentioned that was super interesting to me, and it never answers it, is that
Yeah,
whenever Zovena and Saris have their confrontation in the hall, she mentions that Zovena's scent is intoxicating and it makes her head spin.
yeah.
And I'm like, what is the point in including that in there? I'm wondering if that was like her magic as a fae or if that's part of her magic, if maybe she's like a siren of sorts.
Yeah, you know what? Because Tal mentioned something about this later on about how he felt like he was under a spell. So
Yeah. So
so
I'm wondering if she
maybe,
was like a
yeah,
siren of sorts.
yeah. That would make some kind of sense. I don't know if they have sirens in Fae
Or
lore, but something like that. Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't know. And then another random thing I noticed, and I'm like, what is the significance of that? And I feel like it's going to pop back up is whenever Kingfisher asked Carrion where Simon was, Carrion like blushed, which Carrion does not blush. And he was like, I know where my god sword is. And I thought maybe something was going to come from that. But in a later chapter, he's just got him.
I
Like,
I kind of get the feeling that all the other warriors don't leave a room without their weapons, and I think Carrion is quite forgetful.
yeah, maybe he just
Like,
forgot.
yeah, and I think that's embarrassing to him because those warriors are not ever caught without their weapons.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe like him and Danya are doing something with it. Like maybe trying to get her immune to, I don't know. I
I don't
don't know.
know.
My mind was trying
Most
to solve
gods
that
don't.
puzzle and I don't know.
They can't touch the god swords, right? When it's with somebody
No, but
else.
Kingfisher's not supposed to be able to touch iron, and he's built up a tolerance to it, so
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But the last time she grabbed the god sword, it cut her hand off. I don't think I'd be fucking doing
I
that.
wouldn't even look at it, I'd be like, "Oh, wait."
No, no. I'd be
But
like,
she
I don't want to be in the
rig-grew
same
it,
room
you
as that.
know, it's fine. Nope, no foul.
Mhm. No, no, we're good.
That's all the random stuff I noticed on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, chapter 31
Yep.
is Vapor and Smoke. We get a Kingfisher chapter.
Yes.
So this chapter was sweet. Kingfisher is walking and humming a lullaby to Onyx, but not to him because that would be weird, right? And he wonders if Onyx can understand him, and I have actually wondered that so many times.
Yeah.
And Kingfisher uses his magic to feed Onyx a little fish, and in return, Onyx gives him this cute little pine cone as a gift. And Kingfisher takes it and puts it in his pocket.
I think
That's
that
so sweet.
fox is just as much for Kingfisher as he
Oh,
is for
absolutely. And
Ferris.
now he has him tattooed on his body.
Oh, no.
So Kingfisher now heads to the library where he meets Guru, our shadow cat, and he has a rule. You always follow a black cat, which weird rule, but I am all for it. And he finds Foley's living quarters and he follows the ladder up to the roof. And I absolutely love that Guru managed to hitch a ride in Kingfisher's shadows. Thought that was awesome.
That was so cool.
Well, we learn here that Foley was actually a lord's son, and his dad was
Yeah.
the advisor to King Brurick. And this is, I think, will be important, but I don't know why yet. But it mentions that the wind smudges Guru's edges, and shadows aren't supposed to smudge. So that was weird to me. But anyway, so Foley and Kingfisher, they talk. And Kingfisher tells Foley that, you're coming back to college with me. And Foley does not want to because he's terrified of harming people that he loves. But we find out that he actually has not drank any living, besides like rats and stuff, any
Yeah.
living creature's blood since he was turned. And he's been hanging out and around plenty of people like Saris and Lorith and now Kingfisher and all of that.
Yep.
So Kingfisher cuts his wrist just to prove to him that he's fine. And instead of fully wanting to drink it, Guru's like, please. Yeah, he loves people's blood. I love that. So Kingfisher pulls out, our box demon Joshin and, tells Foley like he can hear it and all of this. So Foley agrees to hold on to it for him. And at the end, Kingfisher asks Foley if he's still Lupo Pro Ilia, and he says, yes, he is. And the only random thought that this chapter, gave me was, what if when Carrion finally takes his throne, Foley is his advisor, like a full circle moment, like he was with his dad, their dads were. I think that'd
Oh,
be super cool.
you know what? That would be epic. I actually hope that happens.
I feel like we're gonna get a lot more Foley in the next book. He's gonna play a big role.
Yeah. I can't
Oh,
wait. I'm actually normally when there's so many characters in a book, I hate it when they introduce something new. They've got enough to deal with, but I actually really like Foley.
I
I
do
really
too. I do
do.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying watching.
And yeah, and Kingfisher mentioned that back in the day, Foley was actually, like, very lighthearted and funny and humorous,
Yeah.
and, I mean, we kinda get
Even
a
more so
little
than
glimpse of
Ren.
that whenever he starts kinda ragging on and picking on Saris a little bit later, but, like, I'm curious for his, like, happy, lighthearted side to come out, and I think he's gonna play a good little he's gonna be good with Carrion. I think him and Carrion are gonna be friends, and Kingfisher and everybody. I think it's gonna be a good little dynamic.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward
Me
to it. I love
too.
it. There's not on the other than Danya and Savannah, I don't hate anybody other than like the bad people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I not yeah, I love it. I love all the characters. It's so good.
This is a very good cast. She wrote all of her characters very well.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
they're
I
all really different from each other, which I enjoy.
yeah, and they're all changing in really nice and fluid ways. Like it doesn't feel forced. So
Yeah,
I like what she's doing with her characters. I really do. I can see
same.
this being like a really good TV show one day.
Hope so.
You hear that, Netflix? A show. Okay. Are you ready to move on to chapter
Yep.
32? So this one's called The Thing About Leaning, and this is Ceres's POV. And oh my god, like to start the chapter, to find out that Tao is having an orgy with
Oh, yeah.
7 female fae. And I'm just like, wow, I expected that from Carrion. Not really so much from Tao, but okay. Tao is actually pissed at Carrion for not protecting Ceres, because like he said that he would. And I'm like, come on, really? Do you think she needs the help? Like, who do you think's got more of control over a situation? Ceres or Carrion? Ah, whatever. And Carrion starts like eyeing up Tao like pretty hardcore. And I'm like, okay, clearly he's a little fluid with the way he likes his
Mhm.
you know. So I was like, okay, fluid sexuality, that's kind of cool. And Tao seems to be a complete exhibitionist because he doesn't want to put clothes on.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, what a stud, man. What a stud. And Carrion's like, how do I get an invite to one of these? And I'm like, yeah, there's Carrion. And he's
Yep.
like, I can't handle like that many people in one go. And then we know that Tao actually knows who Carrion really is, and Carrion clocks that, and he's not unhappy about it, but he makes a point of mentioning it. And Ceres is kind of like, well, who do you want to be? Like, you can pick who you want to be. And he's like, well, I want to stay as Swift. That's who I am. It's what I know, right?
Plus it's one syllable. It's easier to say.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's that too. But I don't, I, if I kind of, for me, it was a little touching because that shows that he is still honoring the person that took care of him, right? All
Yeah.
the women that took care of him. And I'm like, oh, and that gave me the fuzzies. My husband's like, what's wrong with you? So I was like, rubbing my arms. I'm like, I've got the fuzzies. He's like, I don't know what that means. I'm like, all right. So Tao says that he wants to put guards up because of what happened with Bellacon's men. And she's like, aren't these the kind of calls that I should be making? And he's like, yeah, but you keep disappearing. And I was like, that's pretty fucking funny. So, and then they talk about that null blade, the one that those the Bellacon's guards were using, that she couldn't work out what it was made of, and no one likes having it around them. Like Tao doesn't want it anywhere near him at all.
I think it almost killed him whenever he touched it or almost
Yeah,
touched it.
like there's something's fishy with these fucking blades.
Yeah.
And then Ceres is like, she stops someone bowing at her. And she's like, I really hate that. Like, can you stop doing that? And she's like, but you need to be fitted for a dress for the ball, like the even light ball. And we learned that Zalverin has a similar ball, like has a similar like holiday that they follow as well. But Magic just literally spends the whole time like ranting about how dangerous magic is and how the Fae are all monsters. And I thought that was fucking hilarious, like seeing the difference. And he was like, well, here you get to party. Like it's not like that. He's like, yeah. And he's like, and you're fucking going. Like, there's no way that you're getting out of this. We need to replace the Lord of Midnight that Kingfisher killed. And I'm like, yeah, I guess there's not really getting away from that. Now, after the fit and Ceres go to the library, and Algat is nowhere to be seen, but the Stargazer Paperbird is there. And they seem to keep getting into her way. Like they want her attention. And then they start like trying to swoop and they create this giant tunnel right in front of her. And again, one of them cuts her face. And it turns out the birds were pages from an alchemy book. And she starts picking up all the pages off the floor and dun, dun, dun. It's the book she's been looking for with the butterfly on the cover, the blue one. Yay! Finally. And clearly it cut her face because it was making sure it was her. Makes sense now. But I was like, why
Yeah.
did these fucking things keep cutting her? And I'm like, oh, I get it now. And then the message states, for you, God's bless. Thank you for loving my boy. And oh my God, like I'm trying not to cry right now. I was like, and I had to stop, just like feel my feelings for a minute.
Yeah. These couple chapters were really emotional.
Oh yeah, like this whole thing with like Kingfisher not knowing his mum, like not, losing her so young, and then we're
Yeah.
kind of learning about her as he is. Like this, it's very emotional. It's very powerful. Like it was
Yeah.
really well written. And Kingfisher comes in and she shows him the book, even though his mother told her not to, and she explains that she was told not to do that. And he's like, you know what? I trust you. I don't need to look at the book. And that really fucking destroyed me, Hannah. It absolutely destroyed
Yeah.
me. That's something that his mother wrote that she left for Ceres that she said she didn't want him to see, and he respected that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's hard too because it's his mother that he lost, 1,000 or more years ago, and then he just chooses not to read it because he's not supposed to, like, that's
yeah,
brutal. That's
I
brutal.
but he
But it's
respected his
beautiful too,
it
yeah.
is. He respected his mom so much that he didn't want to go against what she
It's respect and
was.
trust. He trusts
I
her
know.
and his mate.
I loved it. I loved it so much. That
Yeah,
chapter was yeah, that was a powerful
good.
chapter. Powerful.
I just wanted to say that I knew the book was in the library and the Stargazers were trying to take her to it, but did not have that the Stargazers were the book.
No, but you were like, they're trying to point her to it. You're trying to point. So you were
Yeah.
pretty much there. It's just we didn't know that they
I'm
were
glad there was
that.
an I'm glad there was an extra little twist. So I like being right about things, but
Yeah.
I like whenever I'm right enough, but also there's something else there that I'm like, "Oh, cool." Like that chapter was so cool whenever we
Oh,
found
it
that out.
was absolutely brilliant. But I don't know if you spotted it later on that those stargazer birds were kingfishers.
I did.
I
I
know. It's
did.
like,
So did Adina create those Stargazer birds then? Because they were
I think
created by
she
magic
did.
thousands of years ago.
I think she did.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
think she did. And that's crazy because she's put all this shit into play. Fuck, she died what? 1,500 years ago? 1,700 years ago? Something like that? That's
Long
a long
time ago.
fucking time. That's a long time.
Yep. Yeah. Next one.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, chapter 33. This was a little short chapter. We got No Regrets is the title, and it's a Kingfisher chapter. So Cyrus had handed him the book. He opened the front of it. He's tearing up because there was a note from his mom saying that if Cyrus, hands you this book, then y'all's bond is very strong. And that his mom needed to stay after she died, but that she cherished absolutely every second that she got to watch him. And
I
that she
know.
loves him and that she's proud of him. But now he needs to hand the book back to Cyrus.
I know. This book, God, like I went through every emotion that's known to man reading this fucking book.
How hard to your mom, who you love because it says how amazing of a mom she was and how much she
Yeah.
loved him. And she was gone whenever you were 11, and now you're like 1,600 years old or something.
Yeah.
And there's an entire book in her handwriting of you don't even know what. So on top of wanting to read what it is, it's also a mystery that you want to solve, which, for me is very
Yeah, well, it's not
intriguing.
even his
Like,
mystery to solve, it's Ceres's. It's
I
been left
know,
up
but
to
how
her.
hard. I'd be like, well, can I read it with you, please? You can
Do
hold
you know
it,
what
but
the hardest part is that she tells her to read certain parts at certain points, like in certain I don't know about you, but I'm not very good at patience.
no,
Like
me either. Me either.
I'm terrible. I'd be no good. Yeah,
Same.
that was a short and sweet chapter.
It was.
It was beautiful. Okay. Chapter 34 is No Regrets, and this point of view is Ceres's. So Ceres made the exact right call showing the book to him. And I was just like, I'm so glad because for me, she didn't owe Kingfisher's mum anything. And she loved Kingfisher enough to want to share it with him. And I just thought it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now she wants to read it all right now, but she's got to go to the fucking ball. And she really doesn't want to go. And she says basically, fuck it, Tal can deal with it all. Like she
I
doesn't want
know.
to deal with the planning. She just wants to go somewhere quiet. So they go to Kalish. And we learn here that Null Blade makes Carrion feel weird. So obviously, it's not just a vampire thing, it's obviously a fae thing as well. But she still can't identify what the blade is even made from. And why it's making her feel ill. And what they need to do is to work out exactly what it is and how to combat it, because the logic states here that Bellacon's army are all going to have some. So this is not something that they can just get rid of. And Carrion's like, let's just bury it. And Sarah's just like, oh, bury it like your head in the sand, king of your birthright. I'm like, yeah, that was a low fucking blow, man. That's not
Mhm.
his fault. And he's like, I don't want it. And she was like, well, it would kind of be nice to have a decent king on the throne
Peloton sucks.
because Bellacon's an asshole. And I get it, right? Like, he was a baby when he left, and all he's really known how to be is a thief and a
Well,
black market
Carrion likes to
trader.
play, and in order to rule, you have to be somewhat serious.
Yeah, and I don't know, I kinda get the feeling that I think he could do it, and I
Oh,
don't
he
think it would be
absolutely could.
particularly hard, but I think he's just got no belief in himself, and that really kind of made me
I don't
sad.
know that it's that he doesn't have a belief in himself. I think that he doesn't have the desire to.
I don't know if he's ever really thought that it was an option to get back on the
Yeah.
throne, so I'm wondering if that's not something he's ever considered before, but now it's in play.
Yeah, you need time to warm up to ideas like ruling a freaking realm.
Oh, yeah, like, this is normally you're like, you watch your king, you're a prince, and you kinda learn your duties as you're going on, and he's had none of that shit, and
Mm.
he doesn't believe that anyone would want him on the throne either or would even care about him, and I'm like, "Oh, baby, you want a hug? Come here, I love Stacey, I love you." And then I can't believe this, but Archer sets him straight. And I loved this part. And I absolutely loved Archer for
Mhm.
this because he tells Carrion that there's Fae that still pray for him. And he tells him that his parents were really great rulers. And the Fae are wanting the return of their lost prince. And I'm like, why? And he's like, even like his family ancestors who made mistakes, learned from their mistakes and did better. So Archer's basically saying, "And I know you can do the same." And I'm like, "Oh, baby." And
I
Carrion
l
is actually speechless for once, and that was
I
just
that was nice. I really loved that the archer said that Carrion may not know the land well, but that the land knows him. I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
I do love that."
I
Also, a little bit of foreshadowing into the stuff that happens later,
I know,
right?
there was all kinds of little clues in here, and I listened to the audiobook first, and then I was reading it, I'm like, "Yeah, she put a lot of, like" she kinda paved the way, and I actually quite enjoyed listening to the audiobook first and then reading the
Yeah.
chapters. Like, that's how I wanna do books from now on, but I can't, I don't have that kind of fucking time. But then Ceres quizzes Archer about Kingfisher's mother, and he reminisces about how she was a wonderful woman. He's talking about a favorite flower that she had, and he goes running off outside to go find this flower to show Ceres. And Carrion tells her that the fire sprites are dying out, and that's when Archer gets attacked by a feeder, and this feeder is one of the rot-filled ones. And I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
no! And Ceres throws the null blade at the feeder because nothing else seems to fucking work, right? Her magic gets absorbed. The weapons don't seem to do anything, but this null blade managed to pin it to the wall. And I'm like, noting that for now. And
I
then
thought that the feeder absorbed the null blade.
it managed to hit its shoulder into the wall where their other weapons hadn't done that. So this weapon had done more than any other weapon. So obviously there's something very different about it. We just don't know what yet. And then basically there's a bunch of fucking fighting and shit that happens here, but Archer gets bitten in the neck. But the feeder did not like that. He got something in his mouth that he did not like and started to boil alive. But Archer's flames have gone out, and rather than just leaving him out there, they know to touch him, it's going to burn them. Carrion and Ceres bring him inside. And I absolutely love Carrion because he doesn't even question it. He's just like, I'm on this. Let's do this.
No, we got it.
Yeah. I love my Carrion.
So that was a really intense scene for me. My husband came downstairs and I was like, "Don't talk to me. I think they're killing one of my favorite characters."
No, my God. I was like, no, not Archer.
Mhm.
No.
A little sweet baby. But
Danya, Danya.
yeah, right? So in this, whenever Carrion was talking to Archer and Archer was talking about Adina, he
Mm.
also mentioned that Adina used to come to that forge often, and she said she was visiting with a friend. And I'm wondering if she was there, like, watching Cyrus, because who else was in that forge unless it was an alchemist from back where she was, but she can see the future. So I'm wondering if she saw everything that's happening now back there. So I don't know. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was really
And
interesting.
I'm
But
also curious to know what Adina's favorite flower was and if it's gonna be significant, because Archer literally ran out to go get it. He's like, "Oh, hold on."
I know, but I kinda get the feeling he misses her and he wanted to share
Yeah,
something
that was his
special.
master, or mistress,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, because he also said that oracles tend to lose themselves over time, right? And she never did. She was still that sweet, wonderful, caring person, and I was like, "Oh." She sounds so lovely, and it's a real shame that she's not around
Yeah,
for us to kinda get to know her better, I guess, but
for sure. I know. Alright, chapter 35. This chapter is called Brimstone, just like
fun one.
what? We got a Kingfisher chapter. So, thankfully, they managed to save Archer, and we learned that Brimstone is an element with magic all of its own,
Mhm.
and it keeps
Yep.
the fire sprites alive, and it kills the rod, but we cannot use it because fire sprites will die if they lose just a few drops of it, and they cannot regenerate more.
No, but
And
he
that
had
the
to borrow it from someone else, like, someone
and
else had to
yeah,
donate.
the only reason Archer's alive is because his entire pyre, all of his family, all just donated a little bit for him. How cute.
I love it. I love it.
Also randomly mentioned is that Isabel had briefly gone home and gone through a really intense trial, and now she is titled prioress.
Mhm.
Not quite sure what all that entails, but I'm sure we will learn more.
I'm sure we will.
Kingfisher and Saris escape to the rooftop to go have some drinks, and he tells her the story of how his dad lost a toe to Graven, some weird creature, that his dad had tried to make a trade. He wanted a love potion so that
Mhm.
Adina would fall in love with him, and that he ended up getting a placebo potion in exchange for a shadow.
Yeah.
But Graven didn't believe that he honored his word, and Kingfisher's dad ended up losing a toe. Random story. I'm wondering if his dad is not dead, and if we see someone missing a toe later on, and that's how he registers that that's his dad. I just thought
You
about
know
that.
you know what? We don't actually has anyone said anything about what happened? Because we know what happened with Dina. We don't know what happened to his dad.
I thought that we had been told that Madra killed him or had him killed.
Yeah, had him killed, but that no, he
But they
said the
probably
bones were in Sylvarin, but no one's seen it.
Yeah, they probably assumed that he died from, like, going into the Quicksilver pool or something without a relic,
Mm.
but if he
Uh,
well, I don't know. I don't know.
I got so many
I
questions.
do too, and I'm trying to, like, not jump too far ahead because 'cause I've got a lot of stuff that I was like, "I don't know where to put this, I'm gonna put it at the end."
Yeah, it's a good plan.
Okay, so they end up going to their dream meeting place, and I loved that Kingfisher said that she's a wildfire and that there's no controlling her, but
Yeah.
that if she needed or wanted him to carry any of the weight, he would gladly do it. So, my only question on this chapter was, are fire sprites are related to dragons if they both contain brimstone?
They must have some common ancestry.
Oh, yeah, the fire sprite's blood is made with brimstone, and the dragon, I'm assuming their blood as well, but their fire that they breathe is made of brimstone.
Yeah.
So maybe
I
it's
thought
just fire.
'Cause I thought that they said that the demigods created the dragons, so did the demigods maybe create the fire sprites too?
Maybe, but why are they gonna create these tiny little gnome-like creatures, you know?
Well, to serve.
Oh, yeah, true. That
I
is
don't know.
their
I mean, it's up
main goal.
yeah, I don't know.
That's all I got on that one.
Yeah, no, you did great. Okay, let's move on to chapter 36. Would that I could. What a mouthful. And this point of view is Ceres's. Eden is finally awake. And so is Archer. Now they're giving Archer shit because they're like, why are you out of bed? You were just almost dead. And he is like, as soon as I
Oh.
got what I needed, the brimstone, he was like, I'm fine, back to normal.
Yeah.
But he's grown a cut. But he too, and I was like,
He did a little jig, he was all excited and proud of it.
little bigger. So fucking cute. So it's time for Ceres to go see Hayden. And Ceres begins to like question whether or not it was the right call even bringing him there. And the first thing he says is, so it's true, he didn't kill you, the guy with the pointy ears. I'm like, yeah, like how do you reconcile that when you think that Faye didn't exist before? Like that is a lot to deal with.
Mhm.
And it sounds like he's already spoken with Carrion, and he told Hayden that she was healthy, but she had changed. And then he drops the amble that Madra is using her as some kind of patriot, like some kind of martyr. And now everyone in Zelvaran hates her because they think that she was working for Madra. Like she tried to give them water and whatnot as a, thank you for all her service. And they're like throwing it away and they don't fucking want it. And she's pissed and she wants to go set the record straight. And Elroy is the only one who didn't believe it. So he got beaten black and blue. And she's looking at Hayden and she's like, hang on, your face is perfect. So you did believe it. Little butthole. How
Mm.
could he fucking
Fuck.
believe that? And then he's like, "Oh, life always seemed to just be so easy in the third. Like, we always had food and water, and well, it made sense that you were probably getting favors from Madra." And I'm like, "Fuck my life." Like, if that had been
Mhm.
my little brother, I would have punched him right in the fucking face. And she literally has to set him straight about all the things she had to do to make sure that he was okay. Like, while she's ranting at him, he's like, "Hey, what's going on with your hand?" And another room flares, and it's Brimstone. So she goes looking for the book, the one that Adina like wanted her to have, and then there is a note. And I thought this was like she's pulling so many fucking puppet strings, it's not even funny. So Ceres basically has a choice. Adina tells her that brimstone is not in abundance and sealing the rune will have consequences. She may not be able to close the door within herself after if she does seal the rune. But if she seals the rune, she can probably save Evalia. Now, if she rejects it, there's a really good chance that everything's going to fail. Like, there's not really any good other options. Like, she even tells her how to reject the rune. Like, and I thought that was really classy of Adina, like giving her, like, hey,
Her
you can
options.
do this. This is how you do it. Because I think Adina knows who Ceres is and that she is likely to seal this rune.
Well, also, if you're told that you have to do something without having the choice yourself, you're not gonna do it as freely or as wholeheartedly, you know?
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And then she works out um like after reading the book that a lot of the alchemists were corrupted by the power. Some alchemists even convinced Bellicon to kill the Alchemarian line. And I'm like, what is that? Do they really explain what this line is? Now, it explains a lot about what was going on, but I'm like, what is that? What is that? What is that? Like, is that her
Mhm.
line? Like, is that where she's from? Like, now I have fucking questions. And now we find out from Kingfisher that Ren is missing and no one knows whether he's in danger or not or who has
Mhm.
him.
I know. Breakfast. So, one big thing that is great from this chapter is Sayrus actually did punch Hayden, which I loved. And she loved that she realized how much sheltering him kind of stunted him in a
Yeah.
way. And I think that that realization for her is going to be really big for moving forward, not only for her, but also for Hayden. I think punching him and letting him know what the fuck was up and that
Yeah.
he is completely twisted in his thinking. I think that that's gonna be really big moving forward and that he'll start to make some of his own choices independently from her. I
Yeah.
hope. We'll see.
Oh, he's a real whiner. Like, I'm so glad that it's taken this long for Hayden to really become a real part of the story because my God, he is a freaking brat.
I think he'll be alright. I think
I
that he's
hope
never
so.
had to grow up, and I think that now that was a big wake-up call for him, and I think that he's going to want to do better, and we see him wanting not actually doing yet, but we see him wanting that later on. 7 is called 3 Minutes, and it is a Kingfisher chapter. So, we see Kingfisher, he is having Isabel trying to scry for Ren, which is an unreliable way to track someone,
Right.
and she's not having any luck. Iris gets all dressed up for the ball, and Kingfisher helps her de-stress with an orgasm, but it
Nice.
also serves to mark her as his,
Yeah.
win-win for both of them. And during this encounter, ink bleeds from him and gives her a new tattoo, so she now has beautiful roses on her leg,
Oh,
and
she's getting
Kingfisher
smothered.
says Kingfisher says, "Don't say I never gave you flowers." And I thought that was hilarious and
That is
clever.
very clever.
But yeah, that's pretty much all that happened in this, but right before she walks out the door, she remembers, "Oh, hey, the journal page." So she reads the journal page. It's just a big fuck around chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't make that much in the way of notes for this
Yeah.
one. There's, like, not very much going on at all.
I did enjoy the mirror scene.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, yeah, I did as well. I like the way it's all done just slightly different. Like, 'cause some books when they have, like, all the
It's
smutty
the
stuff.
same every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does things differently in every chapter and for different reasons, and I enjoy it a lot.
I do too. I think it's really well written. I don't know what
I
people were
agree.
complaining about because I heard a lot of people didn't finish.
Yeah, I've a lot of people, from what I gathered, really like the tension and the build up to having sex the first time, and then any other sex scene afterwards is just repetitive and unnecessary. Which,
Yeah.
if it's not written well, I agree. But if it's written well and if they're switching things up and doing things a little bit differently each time, then I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read
Yeah.
it either way.
I'm always down. Yeah, you covered that nicely. Okay, let's move on to chapter 38, Lion of No One, and this is Kingfisher's POV. So the Hall of Tears has been made into a ballroom. That looks pretty good. Kingfisher doesn't like that the high females are whispering behind their fans, but he doesn't react. Just kind of lets it roll off his back, especially as already caused problems once already. He should probably, keep himself in check. Sarah tells him in his head that there is blood in the air and that the fae's pouring wine for the high bloods. So they're literally like just having a party, drinking blood, having some wine, make him a little feral. I thought that was really funny that he kind of like was like, this is what's going to happen. It's normal. Don't worry about it. And then Kingfisher is remembering all the times that Tao had taken care of him in the labyrinth. And he was remembering that there's new ink on his chest that wasn't there before.
Mhm.
So he had noted that. And Tao informs Ceres it's almost time for the petitions for the vacant spot, which is the reason that they're there. But first, he wants to do the disavowalment. So Ceres asks a low blood to do her a favor. And Kingfisher's like, what's going on? And she's like, don't worry about it. And he's like, okay. And he doesn't press her. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so fucking nosy. I would have been like, what are you doing? What's going on? And
Yeah,
she's
but
like,
he's already made the decision to trust her and give the book back, and he's not supposed to know, and he's accepted that. I'm
"Wait,
not that big of a person,
no,
but
I'm not either. I'm not
Kingfisher
out.
is.
I don't worry. He's just like, he's such a better person than me.
Yeah.
I'm like, crazy. And then while Tao's making the speech to do the disembowelment, she starts to puke blood, which I'm guessing is the blood that she took from Tao to
Yeah,
turn,
that's what
right?
I
So it
gathered.
wasn't a lot, but that's still fucking gross.
Yeah, but imagine the vampires that Malcolm disavowed that had drank a ton from
A
him. Like,
ton of
how they
it.
puke for days, like,
That's disgusting. And she did it in front of all those people. Like, that was something I didn't understand why Tao couldn't have done that in private. Did it have to be a spectacle?
yeah, because he wants everybody to know that he is not pulling the strings of the crown, I think.
Yeah, well, I guess it's because, like, normally she would be shunned, right? When this stuff
Yeah,
happened, she would have been
yeah,
shunned.
Malcolm would have.
Yeah, well, like, she obviously he doesn't wanna do that, so Tao declares her sign of no one and then tells them all to rise for their queen. And then he toasts, "May she be the last monarch this court sees. May she overcome all for the glory of this holy court. May she usher in a new era and a new beginning in Senazrot." To Queen Ceres. And I'm like, that's a really weird thing to say. Like, the last monarch?
Yeah, because she can live forever, so nobody will
Well,
overthrow
Malcolm
her.
didn't. Malcolm
Right, but that's let's have her rule, or, forever. We don't wanna overthrow and kill her. We don't want anything bad to come to her.
it's I was like, what, like reading that, I was like,
Oh, I didn't get anything. I didn't even write anything down about that. I nothing triggered in my mind
really? I was
anything
like,
weird.
that's a
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like, I don't know. I just got, it's like, if I was a vampire in that court, I'd be like, that's what you're going with, bro.
Oh.
I don't know. It was just really weird. And then everyone drinks the wine. And now he calls forth the ones who want to vie for the position of Lord of Midnight. And, I won't go into great detail about who all these vampires are, but she entertains the ramblings of these people that want the vampires that want to take over. And she's like, you can tell by the look on her face, she's not pleased with any of this shit. And like hearing what's going on, she's understanding that these vampires want their court to be like they want breeding farms of humans and human feeding farms and supremacy over the fae, like livestock breeding. And Ceres is like, fuck this, I've heard enough. She's like, I understand what you guys need. She's like, I just don't agree with the methods. So I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my God, like you're stepping in when they all had this plan and you're like, oh, we're not going to do that. I'm like, this is not going to go well. But Zabanak is like saying stuff and trying to rile everybody up, which is just something she likes to do. And I thought it was so funny 'cause she drops the candelabra on her head.
This
It's like,
scene was my favorite.
Kingfisher's just like, you broke a jaw. She was like, stop talking for a while. So all the petitions have been stated and she's supposed to pick somebody. And she's like, no, there's one more petition I want to hear from. But they didn't submit a petition. And she calls on Foley.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. That is the only right call. But
That
it
whole
just,
chapter was so good to
yeah,
me. Absolutely. I wanna just I I officially love Saris after this book. It's not that I didn't like her in the first book, but this book, she has so much character growth, and whenever she fucking pulled up a chair and plopped it down and kicks her feet up on the back of Zavenna's back and uses her like an ottoman in this scene, I was like, "Yeah, that's my queen!" I loved it so much.
I love how she has adapted and she wants to do right by everybody, not just herself. And I really, really love that. But again, this chapter just shows me just how much Kingfisher's mom has set all these things in motion, right? Because
Mhm.
she's the one that told her to do that, to put Foley
Right.
in, right? The wolf with the golden teeth, right? Isn't that what she called him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said the wolf with the golden teeth, yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, Jesus fuck, man. She had all these things like set up way, way before. It's crazy.
Did
Every time I read something that she's put into place, I'm like, it blows my mind again. It
She
blows
was
my
a
mind again.
talented oracle,
Oh, yeah.
very
Must have been
talented.
one of the best. The fuck was
So
Belcom's?
did yeah, did, Saris the favor that she asked of the young high blo was that to go get Foley, I'm assuming?
Yes, I
Okay,
think so. I think that's exactly what she did.
alright. Yeah. You
It
ready?
was a great chapter. Yeah,
It
let's do
was.
the next one.
Okay, this one is 39, Keeper of Secrets, and it's a Sayrus chapter. And then we learn here, yes, that Adina's entry was consider a sixth. Only the golden toothed wolf can be trusted.
Yeah.
So, as Foley's in there, the high blood nobles are rioting. They're throwing stuff at Foley and yelling shunned, I think.
Yep.
But Sayrus declares Foley a friend to the crown,
Mhm.
and that protects him from other people bringing him harm. So then Olga arrives with Guru, and Guru sees his best friend, Foley, and he wants scratches. And thought that was adorable.
It
And
is
also, it
adorable.
pissed me off that Olga tried to kick him. Like, thankfully, he was able to evaporate into shadows, but whenever she, like, full force tried to kick him, I wanted to punch her.
Yes.
Foley had not sworn fealty to Malcolm,
Right.
but he kneels and pledges his loyalty to Sayrus,
Mhm.
officially becoming the Lord of Midnight. And the ceremony is kind of interrupted briefly, and everybody's in awe because Even Light arrives and they say that the spirit of the gods are there, and it's supposed to be like really breathtaking and powerful. I actually didn't create a very good image of that in my head. I couldn't really envision it, but I'm glad that they loved it.
It sounded beautiful. Like, we've been seeing the auroras here, so I kind of that's fine.
Is this the one that she said was even more breathtaking than the aurora that they had seen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get to see that here.
No, that blows.
Yeah, I know. So Kingfisher, asks her to dance, takes her over to a table, shows her some flowers and they're widow's bane. And he wanted to show her these because they're insanely beautiful, but they're very, very toxic and deadly. Basically insinuating that the most beautiful things can be the deadliest. And in the midst of this, we start hearing shouts of help, help. So many vampires are bleeding from every orifice. They're vomiting blood. Chaos is breaking out. And then Tal speaks and he says, brothers and sisters, your judgment has come. Take a vial to be reborn back into your fey bodies. Refuse and join the demons in hell.
Yep.
Fucking twist. So
What the
Tal drinks a big swig of his poison and says, tell Everlane I'm sorry, and then falls to the ground and starts seizing. And I'm just like, I can't. I love Tal
wait,
so much.
he said, "Tell Everlane I'm sorry"?
Yeah.
What did he do to her?
He left her on the night of their wedding, the night before their wedding. She was in love
Yeah.
with
Oh, I thought this
him.
was more recent. Okay.
No, it was
Why,
he
he couldn't fucking apologize for himself?
No, well, I mean, technically, yeah, he had her for a minute, but she was enthralled, but he has lived a life full of regret. He left
Yeah.
Everlane, a great female who loved him, to go be with Zovena, who's a cunt and doesn't treat him well. Like, no, I'm sure he's lived a life full of regret with regards to that, you know?
Yeah.
So that would be his last thought, in my mind, at least.
Yeah, because Everlane never moved on, right? Like, she was
No, I mean, I don't think so. Can you if you're in love with someone and you're engaged to be married and they run away and join the vampires whenever
well,
they've been with your brother fighting them for your whole life?
I thought they were betrothed, so I didn't necessarily assume that they were in love.
It said that Everlane was in love with him,
Okay.
but he was in love with Zovena.
Was he? Or was he under a spell?
It was an illusion, I think. I think that
Yeah.
she's got that kind of or at least she had that as a fae and maybe some of it carried over into her vampire body. I don't
Well, that would have to have been because she was already a vampire when he went, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so she must have still but
Yeah.
I wondered if she'd even enthralled him. Had she bitten him already? No, because otherwise Malcolm
No,
no, you're
yeah,
right.
Malcolm did that.
Okay.
So, my only question here is whenever introduced all of the Lord options, it was like, "Oh, Keeper of Pain, Keeper of this, whatever." So, what is Foley's title gonna be? Is he gonna be Keeper of? I don't know. I'm
I don't
curious to see if he gets a title.
know.
I don't know that he will
Knowledge?
get a title since, the court has now dissolved, but
Yeah, but why? He was living in the library, maybe he's gonna be knowledge.
Keeper of Knowledge or
Keeper
Keeper of
well,
Peace.
I don't know. I don't know. He was in that library a lot. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I'd like to see where that. Well, I guess if the court has dissolved, maybe they wouldn't.
Yeah.
You ready for chapter 40? Okay, so this one's called Judgment, and this is Ceres's POV. And there is blood everywhere. Tao had obviously got all the enthralled. They're putting vials of the potion into the mouths of the high bloods that want it. Now she tries to get one for Tao, but he has given orders for him to take one of these vials. It's a big fucking no-no. She ain't having that. And she gets a vial and she pours it down his throat. Foley is fine because Tao told him not to drink the wine. And he's like, it's not funny anyway, but like Tao told me not to. And I'm like, holy fuck. So he literally made sure that the only people that drank the wine were like the people that he wanted to make this decision. So Ceres and Kingfisher didn't even have any of that wine. And this is where I realized it's a fucking spell. Tao made sure that he'd already saved Savannah. And I'm like, why?
Because he thought he loved her.
And I'm like, I can't. I lost a little bit of respect for Tao here at this point. I'm not going to lie. I wrote that. I'm like, really, dude? So there's all these vampires are either dead or dying on the floor. There's blood everywhere. And Tao is so upset they're trying to save him because he can't be saved. He wants to be let go. And Foley is so angry at him for the hypocrisy because it's like, you said that I could be a, valuable member and blah, blah, blah. And you're telling me that we all have to die now because you're a liar. Like, I felt Foley's pain here so much that he's like, really? Like, asshole. So those who chose death instead of the loss of power from the vampires was actually quite a great number. Like, they would rather die than give up their powers of vampires. And I really didn't understand that. So I'm guessing vampirism must really corrupt.
Yeah, it said only 1 in 10 chose to take the antidote.
Yeah, that's
Only 1 in
a
10.
really low amount.
Yeah, it is. If you're gonna die, fucking drink it, man. Being
Fuck,
fit
when
is
you gotta be
great.
dead?
Yeah.
Jesus fuck. But that makes me wonder how many of them chose to become vampires opposed to it being forced on them.
I don't know. I know too that one of the draws to being vampire that it mentioned way earlier is that as a fae, you're not technically immortal. You just live
No, very long
for a
life.
very long time. And so they're technically immortal here. And I don't know. Or maybe they're so addicted to blood and they love it so much they can't envision not drinking it again. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe it's
know
like an
why.
addiction. I don't know. It was just I thought it was really weird that they
Yeah,
would
I
rather
thought so.
die. I'm like, fuck that. I would have taken that
A
vial.
lot of them are corrupt and not good people though. And
Yeah.
and it's so embedded in them that they hate the Fae so much because they've been their rivals forever. So, like,
Right.
I don't think it's them picturing them reverting back to them. I think it's them picturing themselves turning into their enemy.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe. Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. Now, Foley is basically turned how that he needs to forgive himself, like that none of this stuff's his fault. Now, the ones that did want to be saved look like they're waking from a dream and they are Fae again. But Algat is missing. And Kingfisher's like, if you thought she was bad as a vampire, you don't want to see what she was like as a fucking witch. I'm like, oh my God, because she's missing. So she obviously must have drank the wine, taken the
Yeah.
bomb, fucked off. We don't actually know if that's what's happened yet because we haven't actually got there, but it's looking fucking likely.
Yeah.
Now, they leave for Kalish through the Quicksilver. They are back, and Ceres needs Carrion and Telena. Hayden is mad that Ceres keeps sending him away. Like, what's going on? She's like, oh, you should just go to bed. And he's like, no, you're always sending me away and hiding things from me. And she's like, fine, have it your fucking way. And this chapter was really weird because it continues on now into Kingfisher's point of view. And I was like, it's
Give up.
this is how stupid I was just the other day, right? I was like, where's the chapter like name and
Yeah.
number? I'm like,
This is the only one that did that.
because I'm like, did I miss something? I'm like, is there something wrong with my book? And I'm like, no, just there's logic here, Stacey, that just switches perspectives. Fisher uses his shadows to clean all the blood off everybody because no one's got time to have baths. And Karen's like, I've clearly missed something here. And he's told to sit down. Kingfisher knows that this was something to do with, and I can't believe how badly I was saying her name before. Eshabal?
Ishabel.
Eshabal? Yeah,
Ishabel.
because it's Bahl is the way it's pronounced, right? Is it Eshabal? Oh my God, I was calling her Isabel.
It's close enough.
I'm like, what a fucking idiot. So I apologize for getting that wrong a million times. Kingfisher feels that she literally put Ceres in danger, and he's so fucking mad. And Ceres is like, it's okay, calm down, everything's fine. And he's like, no, it's not fine. So Taylena realizes at this point that Ishabel was not there to help her or to find Ren, but she needed another reason to stay. And Carrion works out that she was the one to have cast a spell on the High Bloods and gave the vial to cure them. And Fisher's like, did you even think about the fact that once they were cured, that they were free to attack? Like there was nothing stopping them. Like they could have hurt. They could have like hurt my woman. What's wrong with you? And she did know that. And she did it anyway. Because as far as she was
Mhm.
concerned, it was for the greater good, right? She was like, when would we have got a chance again? Like this was
Yeah.
essential. And I'm guessing this is one of the reasons why
I
she
mean,
was promoted,
I don't
right?
disagree with her.
But you know what? I don't either. And it's really bad because I really want it because I want to feel like Kingfisher is valid in what he's saying. And he is to an extent that Ceres was in
He's
danger.
not looking at the bigger picture.
No, but he can't when it comes to her. Always going to be her first. Now, Fisher knows that she lied to Tal because if he'd have realized that they could have attacked Ceres, that he wouldn't have done it.
Mm.
So that put Tal back up in my esteem because of the whole savings of anything really pissed me off. And guess what? Lorith was right about her. He is vindicated now because he fucking called it. He said she wasn't to be trusted. And then she finds out that Tal is still alive and that Tal is dangerous. Like he was supposed to die. Like she's like, you need to take me to him right now.
Yeah.
This is not a fucking joke. I gotta fix this because they use dark magic from the fucking demon realm. And now he is a gateway out. And she's gonna
Mhm.
fucking shut that shit down now.
And if they don't get it off of him in time or get to
I know.
everyone will die.
I was literally reading. I was like fanning myself. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Ah. Oh, lot to unpack.
Yeah. So let's see. Oh yeah, well, they run there at the end, and Ishabel's trying to unravel the spells. And it was interesting that it said Saris could sense the demons and that they were hungry.
Yeah.
And I swear I'm trying to freaking figure out this hair floating thing. And during all this, her hair started floating around her body. I'm like, what is the significance of this hair floating? I need to find out. And if this is just some random thing that she keeps putting in all these chapters and it's never identified as
Explain.
to why, I'm going to be angry.
Well, she can use the elements as well as the metals, right? So air, earth, fire. Maybe it's something to do with
But it's not just her that does it. It was also the hallucination of Adina whenever Kingfisher was, Scorpion hallucinating. And it was also Everlane whenever Tal brought her over across the thing, the darn.
yeah, but I'm wondering if there's some kind of air magic is linked to all of those, but we just don't know who yet. Because don't forget, they turn around and say she's the only alchemist that we know.
Yeah.
And Zareth turned around and said that there's more of you out there. So there might be other
Yeah.
beings that can manipulate elements, and we're just not seeing it yet. You know what I
Maybe.
mean? Like, I don't know. It's an interesting thing that you keep noting because it does keep happening, and now I'm noticing it.
Yeah. So then in the end of this one too, Saris feels like inclined to touch Tal's chest. And then the witch mark spells fall apart. So a few random things that I noted in this chapter is that whenever Tal was burning, Talena said, Zareth, save us. And I just found it weird that she would pray to the god of chaos in this instance, as
Yeah.
opposed to like one of the other gods, or that she would honor the god of change and chaos as a healer. I don't know. Found that interesting.
Is he a healer?
And what?
Is he a healer?
Talena is. She's the one
No,
that
no, no.
said,
I mean, the god Earth.
oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And then I'm wondering if Algat will show back up, and if she does, if her and Isabel know each other because they're both witches. I mean,
Ooh.
I know Algat is old and Isabel is young, but that doesn't mean anything on us.
That could have been her coven. That could have
Yeah.
been a coven, yeah.
And then also witches are, I guess, directly tied to this demon realm. So are they also related to the fire sprites and dragons? And then I'm also curious, is a bloodline court or blood court line just completely over? I feel like it was really, really short.
Yeah. I
Like
don't know.
too short lived for how much introduction and backstory and all of that we got in the beginning. Like it's gotta come back up. She did mention later that she wants to go back to Amontrea to visit the feeders. So I'm wondering if anybody wasn't at the party. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what Tal thought was going to happen to the feeders unless it was whoever turned them dies. They die too. But the rot's already taken over. So I don't know. Man, there is so much stuff going on.
Yeah, this is a pretty whiplash book. There's
Oh,
like
yeah.
7 big things happening all at once, and every time it's like, oh here, no here, Rock,
Yeah.
Niagara, Belicon.
Oh, wait. You want to take a breath?
Damn
No. Yeah.
It's fun though. I like that. Okay, chapter 41.
Let's do it.
All right, processing, and it is a Sayrus chapter. So Sayrus and Kingfisher are on a dream date, and she has a new third rune. Um, she got whenever she touched Tal's chest and broke all of that. She asks Kingfisher to hold her, and he
Yeah.
strokes her hair. Apparently, that soothes him, and I love that.
Yeah.
And he mentions to her that she could drink from the vial and become Fae. But she is worried that because she's only half Fae, that it might not work on her or that it might even revert her back to her human form. Kingfisher's
Right.
like, so? Like, I'll love you anyway. Basically, I don't know. I know he has a thing against vampires. They've been his enemies forever. So after this dream, she wakes up and she runs into Carrion, who's carrying this huge stack of books. He asks for her help. So she decides to help him. So they go to Carrion's room, which I love. It's got this, cozy, chaotic energy, and it's full of relocated, not stolen items.
That's
Hilarious.
important to know.
Yeah.
Relocated.
Right. And numerous plants and drawings and onyx asleep in the wardrobe. Like, Carrion's room sounds great. I love it.
Yeah.
And he's been researching king stuff, which I found amazing.
Yeah.
So Saris notices a plant, right? And it is growing like crazy and it is flowering every time that Carrion speaks.
Yeah.
And she's like, excuse me. So he shows her this plant in a book, right? And it's not supposed to be a flowering plant. I'm obsessed with this storyline already.
Yes.
So then the house shakes, right? And there
Oh
are
my God.
thousands of warriors coming from Iran, led by Lorith. And so they have abandoned their camp because the Ra has reached there and they are showing up now in Kalish. I absolutely love that Carrion has earth magic
Mm-hmm.
and all the little clues we've had along the way the whole time I'm loving. But I am curious and I'm hoping that somehow after all of this war, Carrion will be strong enough and have enough control over his magic to regrow the land.
That's why I grabbed my head. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, he can grow that. He can
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, how did I not spot that until you were talking? Like
Yeah.
I listened and I read it and it just triggered when you said something.
That's all a couple things whenever you're talking, I'm like, oh hey. But yeah, I'm
Yeah, you get the information in a slightly different way.
yep.
Uh,
Love, 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 love it, love it. I always really enjoy earth magic stuff too, so I'm
yeah.
very excited to see him start growing into and honing his power.
Yeah. I like the fact that he likes books.
Me too.
That was a good chapter. I like
It
that one.
was.
It's just so much going on. It's just like go, 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 go. It's not a very dull moment. You ready for chapter 42?
Yeah, I am.
This one's called Black Dawn, and it's Ceres's point of view. And I told you, life is like, I told you. Fucking told you so. Vindicated, man. He did not trust her. And you know what? He was right not to. But at the same time, I get why she did it. So, but he's like, ha ha ha. So Danya explains what she saw at the northwest slopes, that the ground, like the snow, has black veins. And they're forming like channels through the snow and it's moving towards Kalish. And it looks like it will be like 14 to 16 hours and it's going to hit. Like it's moving incredibly fast. And that's absolutely fucking terrifying. Both says they know about the book, the one that Adina gave her, and wants to know if Adina had anything on what's going on in the book. And Kingfisher cautions her. It's just like, look, you don't have to go look in the book for this, okay? Do what you feel is right. Like, don't feel pressured.
Obviously, you
Ooh.
need help. You're gonna want to look.
Yeah. Would be turning. That thing would be living in my hands. No. Apparently she knows everything before we do. I'd be skipping chapters. I'll see what happens at the end.
Adina.
So there's a part in the book that says read on after even light. So after the ball has happened. But she cautions her not to take what was in the vial and not to let Tal take it either. And I'm like,
It
fucking
was
like,
Foley.
Foley.
Yeah.
Was it? I thought it was Tal. Yeah, like so Kingfisher's like take the vial and you could potentially become, clearly that's not the case. And we know that now. So she made the right call. So the next session is to be read at the White Cliffs. So there's literally nothing in there that's going to help them in their current situation. Now the wolves know what that means. And that means they have to leave Kalish and go to Inishtar. I think that's right? Inishtar. So they're basically going to flee. And I really don't think they've got any other choice.
No.
They need Brimstone. There's no way they're going to get through all of this and win without it. And Danya is basically saying the quiet part out loud. And they know it, but they don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, Danya just cuts right to the fucking chase. Kingfisher is so fucking mad. He's like, "Well, you wanna kill all the fire sprites? Like, is that what you want? You wanna kill these creatures to, like."
His
And he's
family.
like, "I'm not fucking doing that." And she was like, "You've forgotten how to lead." And oh my god, I was so fucking mad. I'm like, "Wow, that's how you would lead? But this is you would kill a bunch of creatures to get what you need to." Like, no.
To
Fuck
kill a
no. No, no.
small portion of the rot. You would literally annihilate all of this species
Yeah.
to save what?
For
A
a
few
small
a few
portion.
days of your life?
Yeah. Yeah. You're not gonna fix anything with that amount at all. And Laura's like, Guys, yes, we need to evacuate. Yes, of course we need brimstone. But there is another way." And Fisher's like, "Fuck no. Fuck no." And she wants to know what the hell's going on at this point. Sarah's is like, "Is there another way?" And Fisher's like, "I got a timeout." I'm like, he doesn't want to talk about this yet. And I'm like, clearly he knows something that we don't. And that was really fucking exciting for me. And then Sarah goes looking for Hayden. And she calls him Hay, which is something that their mother used to call him. And I thought that was really sweet because she'd been avoiding doing that because she didn't want him to, upset over their mum, right? And I thought that was a really nice development for her that she's
Yeah.
trying a little harder with Hayden. And he's basically struggling to know who he is there, right? Because he's human. It's like, I get it. I would be feeling the pinch there too. And they talk about who they were. And she tells him that he can go back if he wants. It's okay by her. And he's like, "I don't want to go back." He just doesn't wanna be a burden to her, and he's sorry that he doubted her, and I felt a little better after the apology, but not
Yeah.
really, you know what I
Well, he
mean? I think there could have been
promises to
so
be
much more there.
better, so I'm hopeful.
Yeah, and then she's like she tells him to go inside, and it's funny because I was like my first note was after I read that was like, "You had a chance to really connect here with your brother, and you're sending him inside." And then I realized that there's a reason she sent him inside, and that's because the Hazrak had found her. I'm like, "Okay, that makes sense." Like, so I'm like, "Aw, you missed an opportunity." I'm like, "Oh." Like, I get it now. The Hazrak, he knows that what happened to the bull wasn't her. Like, this was nothing to do with her. He gave her the rune she got the day before, and he has more aid to give her. The rune is his name. I'm like, "Ugh, what?" His rune allows her to undo or break. And that explains what happened to Tao. He has seen through the eyes of the oracle, and I'm guessing that's Kingfisher's mother, right? Like,
Yeah.
so he's
He said
obviously
your
been,
oracle.
yeah. So he's obviously been around for a very fucking long time if he has seen through her eyes what was happening in
Oh,
the
he's
future back then.
ancient. He's
Yeah.
ancient. He's the
And
only
I'm
it
like,
said he's the only one left of his kind.
yeah, whatever that is. So I don't think we know yet, right?
Mm-mm.
But he also says that he might be partly to blame. And then he gives her a ring and tells her to give it to Foley. She knows the rune doesn't say Hazrat, but he knows she will figure it all out without his help. So he's basically left her in the dark. Like, he's a real shit for that. Information, but no real information.
Yeah.
Don't need to know it yet, but you should know it already. I
You're
hate
so
people that
close, though. You're so close. I found it interesting too that he mentioned that Cyrus is only the third person in over 1,000 years that he has broken his silence for.
don't. Yeah.
So
But
obviously it's important.
yeah, but I thought that's because Kingfisher's mother has already set the stage for her being very important
Yeah,
because
maybe.
everything is hinging on her. So that made sense to me.
Yeah. I also am like curious to learn why Cyrus and Foley still need to be vampire. Like what is gonna happen
There's obviously
there?
maybe they need the vampire blood for something.
Yeah, something's gonna happen where they may have would have died without having that ability. I
Yeah,
don't know. Also, what's the Hazrax's real name? And
I don't know.
is he a god?
I don't know.
I think he's like a demigod of sorts. I really do. Because his power is so insanely strong and he knows so much. And yes, I know he saw through the oracle's eyes, but I'm really wondering. And it may be not one of their gods. It may be, different witches honor different gods. Maybe he's a
Yeah,
different god from a different realm. I don't know. I think that he is more powerful than we've been told. I think that
yeah,
there's more to him. Also, in this scene, it said that the Hazrax blurred briefly. So
yeah,
and Guru blurred earlier, and he is of shadow. So I'm wondering if
yeah.
maybe the creatures that don't belong in this realm blur at
Maybe.
the edges.
Yeah, but Kingfisher doesn't, does he?
No. No, I mean, it's not mentioned it. And then also he gives her the ring, right? Do the Lord of and says Foley will need it. So do the Lord of Midnight's rings have magic? I think
Were
it's
the
probably
others wearing rings?
yeah, they all had a ring.
Okay.
I don't know. And maybe the Lord of
Um,
Rings magic only works for vampires. And maybe that's why he needed to stay and why it said Foley, don't let him drink and he'll need this.
oh, maybe.
So maybe
So
that
many questions.
I know. I know. That's all I had on that one. Okay. So 43 is Dark Spots, is a Kingfisher
Yep.
chapter. So Isabel still cannot locate Ren through her scrying. And we learn that some warded places don't allow her to see through them. So hopefully he's there and, not dead. The witches have outlawed dark magic outright, and they have no idea that Isabel used it in Amatreus to, clear out the blood court. So they believe that she simply convinced them to revert back to their fae and other bodies. Yeah, right. Even though they
That's
failed
right.
at it several times. So Lorith, who almost never touches his magic, so much so that Kingfisher has only ever seen him use it twice ever, and it was to
Right.
save someone's life. Lorith finally snaps, and he's consumed by fury to Isabel. He unleashes his power, which comes out in a burst of white light, and it slams her to a bookshelf. So Sayrus arrives and shuts that shit down.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, what the fuck are you doing? And she
Yep.
reminds them that they do not torture. They're better than that, and that they cannot, torture their allies. They cannot burn this bridge with this alliance with the witches. So Danya says that the rot is here. Again, she is always the bearer of bad news. She's the one that said it was rotting down the mountain. She's this one. She's the one that's like, hey, come look at these feeders that are infected with rot. She's
She's such a
always the
keeper.
bearer of bad news. I'm wondering why she's given her that task every time. But everyone is going through the portal to evacuate Kalish, and they are bringing weapons, books, anything that they deem valuable, because Kalish is gonna die.
Right.
And Tall, we learn, wants to go to Balin's End, which is his ancestral seat and where his mother is. So they all step through the gate, and
Mhm.
Kingfisher's carrying Onyx, and he steps through last. And whenever he steps through, something was off. He heard a voice from between worlds say, "Hello, dog." The only other thing I mentioned on here is that it mentions that Loris people have a history specifically with the Balkhitter clan, which is
Yeah.
Isabel's clan. And
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what that is about. And I'm wondering if it said Lorith never really uses his magic because he sees it as an affront to the gods. So obviously
Oh.
his family is religious, right?
Mm.
So I'm wondering if maybe because the witches blur
Use
and cross
magic.
those lines so much
Yeah,
more that
maybe.
there's something to do with that. But that's the only thing that I could think maybe.
They may have even clashed at some point too.
Yeah.
Like their magic could have put someone in danger. Like it's hard to say at this point.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if we'll get more backstory on
Yeah,
that.
me too. The only thing I really picked up from that whole chapter was I don't know if somebody said it or whether it's just a thought that I had, but controlling information meant controlling the people, which is why
Uh-huh.
all the that's why they didn't want the books. They didn't want the people to have the information to be able to save themselves. And I don't know, that just stuck out to me. It was just one of the
Yeah.
things I noted, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You covered that nicely. Okay. Chapter 44 is Inishtar, and its point of view is Ceres's. They've literally walked into a fucking nightmare. 1 minute she's teasing Hayden, the next screaming. Like the thick black smoke everywhere. It's pandemonium. There's feeders all over the place. A feeder smashes into Ceres, clearly brand new and unfed because it's begging to, I need to feed. It's begging her. And this part really grossed me out. Like, I didn't need to hear this, okay? Callie Hart, I didn't need to hear this. But the teeth, it's like human teeth started falling out and it's being replaced by like the sharp ones. And I'm like, God, like, thanks. Thanks for that. And then Angel's breath is crackling through the air, so she at least knows that Lorith is okay. Now, Foley needs Fisher, but Fisher was right behind him. But when he turned around, he wasn't there and the gate was gone. The shadow gate was gone. And it's like, where the fuck is he?
Mm.
Now, her queen vampire powers literally do nothing to stop these feeders. Like, she has no control over these fucking things. And it's actually Foley that ends up saving her. And I thought that was really, it's like, I just saw fealty to you and already I'm saving your ass. And I'm
That's
like,
what I was saying whenever I'm like, okay, we see a little bit of sassiness coming out in Foley
yeah,
already. I liked that.
I do. I like it too. I really like his character and I really can't wait to see like how he progresses and grows. So Loreth and Karen are glad to see her, even if like Karen's like, being a cocky shit. Because he always is like that, right? Like, oh,
Yep.
turning up late, making us do all the fucking work. You know what I mean? Like, but he obviously is really glad to see her. And I love that their relationship doesn't really change. Like
Yes.
they still have that. I like that. They don't know where Tal is either. Grabbing the book, Sarah knows she has to read the next part because I'm guessing they're at the White Cliffs now, right? And she reads on and it says, after the trade. What fucking trade? Who are they trading? What trade? I'm like, what? And I'm like, and I sat there and I'm like, what did I miss? So there was nothing that she could use in this book. So Laura grabs her to come back with him. Ishtar isn't the place it should be. burning, and they literally end up walking to a house, and Taylena is there, and she literally has to convince her friend to let them in. She was like, "Come inside," and Zabana has run off. What a fucking shock. I don't know why these people keep trying to save her. Just let her go.
Well,
Let
it
her
said
die. I'm done.
Zovena and Tal both ran off into the thick of fighting. So, well, that's good. But they were fighting the feeders, which were very recently their people. So that was cool.
What a difference a day makes.
Yeah.
So they start sealing up the house, and the forge there was destroyed, but she can't make relics anyway because she doesn't have any quicksilver, so she's not really that worried about that. But there's no Kingfisher, there's no rent. Like, these are big problems. And Loreth and Ishabel bicker about the situation they're in. Like, they're so combative to each other. Like, she cannot scry and find Fisher, and she hasn't managed to find Ren either, so she's fucking useless at this point. And Ceres asks if there is a Quicksilver pool anywhere, and this is where we actually learn that it's not called a Quicksilver pool, it's actually called a realm portal, and I thought that was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
But I don't even know why she asked, because her powers will tell her if there's anything close, and she's like, "So if there's no pools close enough for the feeders, how the fuck are they getting there then? Like, how are they getting in?" And
Because
they're
they're from
realizing that,
Zilvarin, the ones here.
yeah, so how are they getting there?
Yeah.
Because there's no Quicksilver pool for them to come into. So Madra clearly has another way to send them. And oh my god, does she have magic to travel between realms without Quicksilver? And that is how it is. Now, it sounds as though she didn't ban magic for the reasons we all thought. It sounds like she banned it because when it's not being used, it has to find an outlet. And she was clearly drawing on that. It was accumulating. And Ceres realizes that the city of Zelvarin is in the shape of a giant wheel with like
Which Foley said is the strongest magic.
that magic symbol. So, oh my fucking god. Which means no one is safe. Nowhere is safe. They're fucked
Yeah, it is the most massive piece of living magic, and it is built into the land.
into the land. She bided her time so hard. And Ishabel tells her that to ward a realm, you would need Fae and witch magic together. So you'd need an entire coven and magic wielding Fae. And something very, very personal that belongs to Madra. And Ceres retorts back, "Well, you have a coven." She now needs to find Fisher for the Fae part, and she thinks she has something of Madra's that will work.
Yeah, well, it said she needs 10 strong fae, so we're going to
Yeah.
have to go on a hunt to gather more. But we've already
Yeah.
got, Lorith and Carrion, like, we've got all these other people, and Carrion will be strong enough, I think, by the time that they go to, destroy this portal in Madra.
Well, we know, like, later on in the book too, like, this happens. There's more Fae, and they've got more power, right? Yeah. So, but she still needs Fisher.
Yeah. So one thing that I noted on this chapter that I don't think you mentioned is that when Ceres is fighting the feeders, she kills one with her god forged swords, and the creature ignites from the inside and erupts into flames. And we see that happen again later in the book, but is that her god sword's magic?
Or is she channeling, like,
Fire.
she can control Brimstone, right?
Yeah, or it could I don't think she can at this point, but she does have the fire rune on her hand, and even Tal mentioned in his office way back then that he thinks that the burning of her runes is indicative of the fact that she has fire magic. So maybe
Yeah.
it's not her god sword magic, maybe it's she's
Yeah, but
channeling fire through it.
I thought the fire, when they tried to set fire to the other feeders, didn't work, because that's when Danya got really burnt,
Which
right?
is making me wonder if it is the god sword's fire that is doing it.
Maybe. That's really hard to fucking say. I just wondered if there was some way she was channeling, like, she could
Maybe.
feel I don't know. Too many
Mhm.
questions, no
And then
answers.
also, whenever they were fighting the feeders, she looks over at Carrion and she's like, "Oh, wow, he's fighting really well, like, better than he." So I'm wondering if he's been training, like, with Danya maybe.
Well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's been
Yeah.
training with Danya, because I don't remember seeing that he was training with Lorith, and I think that would have been mentioned, right? So I'm
Right,
like,
and then and
yeah,
they
that
whenever
would make
Kingfisher and
sense.
them were in Zilvar, and he basically mentioned, like, "Well, you can't even hold your sword," you know? So to know and see that he's fighting well, he's gotta have been training.
Yeah, somebody's been training him, and I think you're right. I think it's probably Danya. Woo, good. That was quick. I like that. Nicely done.
Alright, 45?
Let's do it.
Alright, 45 is redemption, and it is a Savers chapter. So they go hunt for the personal item of Madra's, and they get unbelievably lucky and find it on the very first guard that they look for. And it is
Not the
Madge's
only luck they have.
right? It is Madge's plague bag, and it is full of ashes and her hair.
Ew.
Weird.
Why?
So,
Why?
I don't know. That was a question that I had too. I have no idea. And
That's nasty.
if you create this sigil, you have to know that it can be broken and how it would be broken. So why would you so freely give something that personal of yours to all the guards? It must be needed there in order
Yeah.
to complete the spell or the sigil, you know? To
Mm.
link it back to her, to give the power to her maybe. I don't know.
So are we thinking that Madra is a witch?
Do you have to be a witch in order to do she called it a witch mark on Tal, so maybe she is. Ooh, maybe she is.
Okay.
Because
Now I've got more questions.
hell yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so after they find that, they see Tal kneeling over by Zovanna's corpse, and he openly admits that he knew that she was cruel and that she was a bad person and that she took pleasure in hurting him,
Right.
and that he feels absolutely nothing towards her death. So with her gone, this bond or spell has finally been shattered and his mind clears, which
Yeah.
thank goodness. But he believes that the last 1,000 years were for nothing. So he's depressed. He confesses that he nearly ended his life, but that the feeling of the sun on his skin for the first time in ages pulled him from the edge.
Yeah.
Thank
That was one of my notes too.
yeah, yeah. So Cyrus then takes Tal's sword and forges it into a god sword, which
Yeah.
he names Tarsarin, which means redemption.
Redemption. Yeah. Like I said, I'm so glad you're getting all the funky words.
All the swords. So the crew stays to help repair the town.
Mhm.
And Cyrus pulls Lorith aside and is like, hey, you got to explain what the other way the brimstone is. To get the brimstone is Kingfisher was going to tell me, but he's
Yeah.
gone. So she promises that she won't act without Kingfisher. And then all of a sudden, thousands of birds fly overhead and it triggers something in Cyrus's memory, but she can't quite put her finger on it. And tons of satyrs are marching towards them with weapons in hand. And one of them asks, where is he? The forgotten king, referring to Carrion. And Cyrus is like, so they all also look and they see him and they kneel down and they lay down their weapons and they begin to sing a song, which is a song meant for love and respect to
Yeah.
Carrion. And
I
even
know.
whenever he starts walking away, they turn. So they're still facing him. And I'm just like, I love this.
Oh, me too.
And Carrion is told that acknowledging his blood right would be seen as an act of war against Bellicon. So he
Yeah.
cannot mention or verify that he is the heir. So naturally, and this is my favorite Carrion line in the whole book, his grand response is, hi, I like your horns. That's my favorite Carrion line in the whole book. Like, it's so fitting for who he is.
Yes.
So Cyrus then, at the end of the chapter, remembers what memory the birds triggered. Because of it, she thinks she can find Kingfisher. That's all I got on that one.
No, you did great. No, the only thing that really stuck out was just the Tao wanting to die. And his
Yeah.
son reminded him of like the beauty of life. And I was trying not to cry because God, I blubber like a
I
baby
cried a
during
lot in
that.
this book.
Yeah. Way more
I'm
than I
very
was anticipating.
I'm very emotionally attached to these characters.
So am I. And I really didn't expect that. I didn't.
Yeah.
But they hooked me right through in Quicksilver. So I'm a sucker. No, you did great. You did great on that one. Are you ready for chapter
I
42? So this one is Break, and this is Ceres's POV. So the Fey warriors are bustling around the camp, and she's on a mission. She's looking for Danya. She needs her help. But Danya is just I wrote a lot of swear words here, like bitch, ass, slut.
Every time
Right.
I write Daniel's name, I'm like, what a bitch.
Yeah, like she's like, meh. And this sealed my hatred of Danya for the rest of my life. I don't care what redemption she gets. She called her little Osha, and that really pissed me off.
Yeah,
Like,
made me
how
mad
dare
too.
you do that? But I like the
Because
fact
that's
that Ceres
bad towards Kingfisher, towards Cyrus, and towards those freaking like amazing butterflies.
yeah, I was so fucking mad. Like I was like, grinding my back teeth. I'm like, "Ugh," seething. Hate her. So Ceres puts her on her ass, and I loved that so much. And she tells her she's going to help because she loves Kingfisher. Not that she's in love with Kingfisher, but their family. But Danya is still furious at him for being absent. But it's more to do with the fact that she thought he was a traitor and that she had lost trust in him. And she has that guilt. She's feeling immense guilt for leaving him Gilthria. How do you say that?
Gilthry.
Gilthry. Oh, it's close. But Kingfisher doesn't blame her. And I don't think Danya has really accepted that yet. And Danya's like, what is it you want? What do you want me to do? Like, what do you need from me? And Ceres wants her to punch her in the face, like to
Hard.
knock her out. Which is something Danya has wanted to do for a
He's
very
like,
long time.
"Oh, well, why didn't you just say so?"
Yeah, why didn't you start with that, honey? We would have saved all this. So she's hoping that if she gets knocked out, that she can find Kingfisher in their dream space in Kalish. Now the place is destroyed and she can't find him anywhere in there. So she's gone towards a cottage and she can't get through the door. It's like she can't get in. So she tried using power and the rot absorbs it, which is terrifying. So she decides to use the Hazrak's rune to open the door and Kingfisher's in there. She calls out to him, no reaction. She stands in front of him and he doesn't hear her and he doesn't seem to acknowledge that she's even there. She keeps talking to him until someone else answers and it's the Hazrak. Of course it is. Of course it fucking is.
He's always watching.
He's always watching, but he's interfering too. If you think about it, she didn't call him, so he's interfering as well. So I'm wondering how much of it was planned for him to get himself involved to put her in the right
Yeah.
direction. But he's there because their deal was he could observe her, not the court. So that she
Because
should
she
have.
did not specify, and she said the same deal Malcolm had, and that was their deal. Sarah's always getting fooled by deals.
Yeah, but she didn't read the fine print. She didn't
Yeah.
define the terms correctly. And I thought, and I was just like, I was shaking my head. I thought it was funny. But he finds her really amusing because she doesn't seem to understand the game. But she remembers that he owes her a favor. She
Mhm.
asks for Kingfisher back. He's like, nope. So she's like, okay, help me find him. He's like, she says, fine, go away and don't observe me. He's like, watch yourself. And then she's like, she remembers why she's there. And he's like, I give you 1 minute to complete why you're here and request a new favor. And I wrote tricky fuck right there. So she goes searching for what she came for, which was the kingfisher bird that his mother loved so much. The wing is clipped and there's a piece of paper in there. She begins to shake, but she's running out of time. And her favor is to go to Wickerwood.
So, one thing I noticed in this chapter, and I'm so intrigued by it, is that when the Hazrak shows up, it mentions that he's full of visible black veins, just like the infected feeders. So, I'm wondering, I don't think he's infected, but I think, and it said in the last chapter that people blame him for this. So, did
Well, he
he
said he was
create
partly
the
to blame. He said he felt partly to
Yes.
blame, but it doesn't say for
I
what.
think he created the rot. I think it is of him. And that's
Maybe
why
it was
you can see the
accidental.
veins in it because 'cause they're in a dream state, so maybe he has glamour in the real world and his glamour doesn't work in the dream state. Because this is
Maybe.
the only time she sees him in a dream and he's got black veins. And then
Yeah.
out in the real world, he's like, "Oh, I feel guilty. Everybody blames me, this and that. Here, I'm gonna help you because I fucking created the rot." I think he did. Or it's from his realm maybe,
Yeah.
and he brought it here.
Yeah. Like,
So,
it's hard to say, there is so much we still don't know about this fucking dude, and I need to know more. I've got questions.
we will. Alright,
Let's
47?
go. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, 47 is titled Unless, and it is a Sayrus chapter. So Sayrus wakes up from this dream. She's in the snow. The Hazrax is there, but he won't tell her where to go.
Yeah.
And she can feel the quicksilver in Kingfisher's eyes. So she
Yeah.
heads towards him, where she stumbles across a group of warriors and they all have no blades.
Yep.
So their conflict breaks out. She stabs one with Aramar, and holy fire blasts from his mouth and eyes, killing him. So I think that this holy fire is her god sword, or at least one of her god sword, Aramar's power, because I'm still holding out hope that she's gonna have two.
Yes. So cool.
Yeah, right? So this big motherfucker grabs her by the throat and starts squeezing and choking her out, but she's able to stab him, and then she hears contain her, and it's Belicon de fucking Bara. He's here.
Bella cock.
And yeah, so she's going on this killing spree and she uses her Quicksilver rune to obliterate the guards. Where Belicon sees and he's amazed and he's like, oh my gosh, I want that for me. And he mentions here just kind of in passing that she doesn't know what she's talking about. And he is not the one who killed off the alchemists, which I'm interested in learning more about that. If it was, in fact, the corrupted alchemists from earlier or if
Yeah.
he's lying. But he can't lie, can he? I don't know. Anyway, so Aureus is there and he has Kingfisher trapped inside of a rotted, monstrous tree. And
Mhm.
Kingfisher looks moments from death, even worse for wear than he was in her dream. And the tree is about to swallow him. So Belicon tells her that Kingfisher was supposed to stand trial for what happened in Gilthry, but since he ran and he wasn't there, they held the trial without him. And he was found guilty of mass genocide, even though it was not him. And his punishment is to be imprisoned for life here. And we learn that the trees used to be dryads
Mm-hmm.
and they challenged a witch clan and they lost. And so they were transformed into these living prisons where they
Right.
feed on the suffering of the living and they keep their captives alive. And
Yep.
Bellicon has taken the task of keeping these things fed, aka
Yep.
giving them humans or fae,
It's
whatever.
disgusting.
So if she tries to pull Kingfisher out of this tree, it will kill him instantly.
Yes.
So Bellicon plans to take Nimmerel since he thinks that Kingfisher's soul solace, even though soul solace is his father's blade. And he claims that when the tree swallows Kingfisher, the bond between him and his sword will break, and so he will be able to take her. Well, Saris throws back that he could never wield Nimmerel anyway, because not only is she iron, but Morel also fused herself to the sword. And if the iron doesn't kill him, then this female will. But she mentions that there is one other person who's not affected by iron. And he's like, who? She's like, me. And she calls Nimmerel to her, hoping that, the sword doesn't kill her. And the sword answers, and Solace erupts into pure light, and Nimmerel bursts into shadows and smoke, which, badass. This whole scene
It's
with
so
Bellicon
cool.
to me was so badass. So Bellicon is striking at her with his power, and she is able to push through his shield. She mentions that she will not kill him, though, today, because that death belongs to Kingfisher, which I love that she is honoring that instead of just, completing this task. So
Mm-hmm.
Bellicon orders Aureus to tell the Dryad to take Kingfisher, and Saris hurls Solace straight into his chest, but she's seconds too late because the tree begins to seal itself around him. And it mentions Bellicon moved unnaturally fast, and he punches Saris through her and is holding her heart from the inside. And he threatens to rip it out, and he tells her to bend the knee, which,
Yep.
hell no. She's able to distract him just enough by mentioning Adina to stab him through the stomach and chest with both hers and Kingfisher's swords. And he collapses and he's laughing and he's claiming that it will never be enough. So she calls out that an oath-bound female cannot break a promise unless someone speaks his true name. So she declares, Kingfisher of the Ajin Gate, I release you from all oaths. Rise, Kaiden Greystar Finvara. Rise and fight. So we
We
have his
finally
real
have
name.
his name.
Yeah, do you like it?
I do.
Me too. I think it's good. I do too. I don't like the way she pronounced it on the audio. She said Kaidan, like instead of Kaiden. I think Kaiden flows.
No, Kaiden's better.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with
So
that.
so a few notes I had on this chapter are, so whenever Aureus came through the Quicksilver and now Bellicon are both pushing for her to kneel and before the sphere and stone. Like, why is it so important that she kneel? Isn't that just to bind them and say that they must be honest?
Think so.
Like, they have
He
both now
needs her
granted.
for he needs her for something.
Yeah, he does. So, and I thought for a moment, I thought that Adina had said that she must stay vampire because I thought Bellicon was going to rip her heart out and somehow she was still going to be able to live. So, and also, what is Bellicon? What power does he have? Because I guess I'm jumping forward a chapter. I guess it really mentions it in the next chapter, but like, how is he able to live being stabbed through with two god swords, one of them being iron?
Thought we'd read in Quicksilver that they can't die when the others are living. Like, they're all Madra.
Malcolm died.
Yeah, but I think Malcolm, I don't think it was supposed to happen that way. I think fate intervened kind of with that one, but I'm wondering if his fate's still tied to Madra's and Madra's still alive. I think that they're
I
kinda
don't know. They were the three of them that weren't supposed to, and they said the three of them couldn't. So I'm wondering if, like, because they were able to kill one, maybe that's not so. I think he's something. I think he's like
yeah, you
laced
might be
with
right.
something or mixed with something or some half breed of some sorts. I don't know.
Well, I
But
guess we're gonna have to find out at some point.
yeah, also keep in mind that the Hazrax was creepily there watching this entire encounter.
Of
And
course he was.
one thing that made me laugh is, so Kingfisher's real name is Kaiden Greystar Finvara. So was his dad's name Finrin Finvara? Good old Fin.
Fin Fin. Oh my god, I love it.
I don't know. That's all I got on that one.
Oh, it was a
It
good
was a busy
chapter.
chapter. It was
It
very
was a
action
really
packed.
busy chapter. So chapter 48 is Folly, and I like the way she did the point of view. It's Kingfisher, but she used his real name
Kaiden.
too. Aiden Greystar Vara. Right?
Yep.
And can I just say that she is so fucking ballsy for what she pulled off? Like, how did she pull all that stuff together to do any of this stuff?
She's brilliant. And she did it
Right?
so quickly. She just read that page and now she's here and she was able to formulate a plan
A
in
plan
that
that
small amount of time. Yes.
quick, knowing what she was going up against too. I was just like,
Mhm.
fuck, that was so ballsy. So Kingfisher feels the darkness shatter. He begins to remember what happened, that he was at the Shadow Gate and he heard Bellicon's commands. His real name sets his soul ablaze and he is free, but he recognized when he heard the name that that was his name, that he knew it, that it felt right. So I thought that was really sweet. And that Ceres came for him. So Nimrel is buried in Belacon and it's leeching his power, that he knows that to get the sword back, Fisher has to pull it out of him and then he'll get his power back and he'll be fine.
Mhm.
So it feels like they're kind of at a stalemate, to be perfectly honest with you. And Belacon is like, your mate knows nothing, and that's your fault because he hadn't told her anything. She came to this place she knows nothing about and gave up his true name, which he can now use. So now he has, and he tells Kingfisher, using his name, to kill Ceres. And he turns to Ceres and says, I'm sorry. And then he swings the sword back into Belacon's chest, and I'm like, yeah. She's like, so she shows him the rune for the unbreaking, undoing. She used it to unbind the magic so no one can ever use his name against him again.
Hell yeah.
Ceres won, Belacon diddle.
Mhm.
So Oris was unseen and a moment from slitting Ceres' throat when Onyx comes out of nowhere. She stabs Oris, but it's too late. He has managed to Onyx. You said it was a mistake to heal before. You did. You were like, is it a mistake that he
For
used his?
Kingfisher, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, and yeah, I agree with you now. Before I said, no, I think he did the right thing. Now I
Yeah.
think he saved the magic. We wouldn't be in this predicament. She was like, she wants to know if Fisher can help. He obviously can't. And we learned that Onyx has been there like pretty much the whole time that Kingfisher was there. He's been a real pain in the ass, and he even bit off Oris's finger, like part of his finger.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
he's been trying to help Kingfisher this whole time. And I'm just like, my heart is hurt right now. Like when I was
Mhm.
reading this, my heart hurts so
Oh,
bad.
yeah, I was crying.
Yeah, it was like, and I cried. This was the chapter I cried the most in.
Yeah, I did love, though, that after Aureus was stabbed Onyx, I love the rage and protectiveness and, all of that boiled up in Ceres and Kingfisher. Ceres
Yeah.
legit ripped Aureus' throat out with her teeth.
Yep. But what I loved was Kingfisher turns around and says that the fox with the heart of a wolf.
And I'm wondering if that's maybe foreshadowing and Onyx is embodied by one of the following Lupa Aurelia.
Ooh, that would be
I think Onyx is more than just a fox. I think that it's someone's spirit living in his body, and if it's not a Lupo Aurelia, maybe it's a Dina.
that would be really fucking interesting.
'Cause
I
he's too
note that.
smart.
I need to know.
Yeah.
So all the hatred that Kingfisher has for Belacon is rising. They pull the sword from Belacon knowing his magic would return, but Kingfisher cuts that fucker's head off. He's not dead, but he can't call for help right away, and that just made me laugh.
But that's what I'm saying is what is Bellicon? Because Malcolm was able to die from being beheaded. You chop off this and you know he's not gonna die, how? That's
I,
always
I,
how you kill creatures is you behead them.
I don't know. I
But I'm
really don't know. We even talked about the fact that we weren't even entirely sure Malcolm was dead, remember? Because of
yeah,
that thing about them. So I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, so another couple random things I noticed is it mentions whenever Kingfisher comes out of the tree that he sees Bellicon and he's wearing a new crown. He's not wearing Rurik's crown.
Mm.
So I'm curious to learn more about that. But also, when he asked, why did the name not work? And she was like, oh, and she shows him the rune. Bellicon's face drained. And the rune is supposed to be the Hazrak's name, his real name.
So
So
he obviously
why,
recognized it.
how does Bellicon recognize the Hazrak's real name? Do they know
But
each
if
other? Have
you're
they crossed
right,
before?
and he's a demigod, then that's the demigod's name and he knows who that is.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't
Maybe.
know. So many
But yeah,
questions.
that's the two things I noticed on that one.
No,
All
nicely
right,
done.
49.
Yes, no.
All right, 49 is when we need them most. And we have a Sayrish chapter. So they leave and they are traveling through Shadowgate after Shadowgate, trying to get far away enough from Bellicon to where he cannot sense Kingfisher.
Right.
So they land in Agen. And Saris breaks down. She's sobbing. Her rune, the Hazrak's rune, starts shimmering and it's never glowed before. So she starts shouting for him to show himself. And he does, and he's angry about being summoned. And Kingfisher is confused as to his presence there in their relationship because she's not filled him in on this yet. And Saris asks the Hazraks if he can see spirits because she needs to know if Onyx is truly gone.
Yeah.
He agrees to answer, but only if she answers a question of his. And
Yeah.
he asks her, what does it feel like to lose something you love so dearly? Which suggests that he either can't love or he hasn't lost anything precious enough to go through a grieving process, which is interesting to me.
It's interesting he wants to know that.
Yeah, right?
Hmm.
I don't know. So he says that the fox's soul is still sitting at her feet and he doesn't know that he's dead yet. So she wants to try to bring him back. And apparently it's this impossible task. And at this point, Kingfisher says, he's not just a fox, he's family. Which makes me wonder, is it a lupoprilia or is it, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. So if the Hazrax warns that if she follows through with this attempt, it will shatter the room that he gave her for good. And she
Yeah.
tries anyway. And Kingfisher backs her without hesitation. He fully believes in her. And the magic works. Onyx's soul returns, but his body is still wrecked. And
Yeah.
so he breathes, but he's fading. And this fix won't hold for long. So Saris
Right.
is able to reach down and feel this last kernel of magic and shove it into him, which I feel like that part was a little rushed because I went back and I reread it because I read my notes and I
Yeah.
couldn't quite decipher what I meant by it. And I went back and I reread it and I was like, oh, that still wasn't very clear to indicate that he's fully alive and well. But that was the end of that one.
It was intriguing that no other alchemist had ever done that before either, but she managed to pull it off.
Right. So she is. We already know she's powerful. We're just getting proven again, time and time.
Yeah.
Just how much.
Crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But then you just made me think, because we were just talking about the fact that Bellicon can't die, is something reanimating him? Like maybe there is an alchemist out
Maybe
there
he
that's like,
does have it. And maybe the alchemist is like losing its power or something. And that's why he needs Saris so that he can continue to live. I
so
don't know.
yeah, ooh,
That would be
that would be an
interesting.
exciting little storyline.
Yeah.
It's this book. My biggest problem with this book was I felt like it gave more questions than it answered.
Yeah, but that's fine because it's a middle book. We have an ass book to tie everything up. I don't mind having a bunch of questions in the middle of a series as long as they're all wrapped up at the end. I actually like having questions because I like trying to solve puzzles.
Yeah, what I like is to have an equal amount of things answered to the next set
Yeah.
of questions being asked, and I feel like there's so much more I need to know now, whereas it wasn't like that with Quicksilver, and I'm like, I know she's planning on releasing this one in, was it end of 2026, right?
Yeah, I think it's in November
Yeah. So I guess it's only a year
or
to
maybe it
wait,
was
but still
September
that's
actually.
oh, I don't know. I don't actually think it because it doesn't even have a cover yet
I
or a
which
title.
okay, I had this at the end, but I'm 90% sure I know what the name's going to be of the next book.
What? Tell me.
I think it's going to be Salt. Because if we follow along this trajectory, we have Quicksilver, we have Brimstone, so we need another element or another thing for her to control. And if you go back to chapter, I think it was 24, which is the
Okay.
Trio Prima, whatever it was, and
Yeah.
she's reading the book, it says that alchemists have to try to master the trifecta, which is Quicksilver, Brimstone, and Salt. So
There you
I'm
go.
pretty sure that's going to be the name of that book.
We're gonna note that down. That was your prediction.
Calling it.
Yeah. Are you ready for chapter 50?
I am.
Okay, so this one's called Night, and this is Ceres's perspective. She's in pain. Kingfisher is carrying her. Her head is killing her, but she saved him. She has saved Onyx. He's running along on the floor. He's like, yeah, I'm back. I'm here. So she used her rune to bring Onyx back, but now it's gone. That's it. There was a one and done deal. Over. And Kingfisher is in complete awe of her. The lengths that she goes to save the things that she loves. And I love that he mentioned that. Yeah, you're crazy, but I love that about you. But it's not time to celebrate because shit's really going down at Ajun, right? Is it called Ajun?
Ajin.
Ajun. Okay. Balakon's guards are gaining on them and they need to be let in. And it's
Red fish.
so the city is heavily guarded with magic, and that's really cool. And Ren explains that this is his oath mark, and it called him into service. And he's like, I don't want to explain the story, Kingfisher, you tell her. So he explains after the battle where Ren's sister was killed, he asked for them to bury her there as it was one of the places that she really loved. So his blood belongs of the mountain now. So I had a question.
What's
so if he's oath sworn there, and he got called in. Now, at this point where he's in service there, could Bellicon have overridden that service? Like, which one would have taken precedence?
Well, Ajin wasn't on the list of places that's warded, is it? It
I
said
don't know.
Kalish and Amon-Traith, unless he was only referring to those two because those were where they were and where Saris is supposed to be.
I wondered because he's oath bound to two things. Like,
Yeah.
which one would be more important? Which one?
I don't
Like,
know.
I don't know. That was just something I noted, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was called to guard the gate, and this gate is one between realms, one that couldn't be opened by anyone, but just kind of opened of its own accord. The Knights of Erythian, right? Erythian
Mhm.
were created because they couldn't close the gate. 6 guards were to stand over the gate at all times, keeping the evil out to make sure that nothing came through. Now, Bellicon declared the gate staying open was a sign, and he sent Kingfisher through it when he was just a boy of 11 years old.
Yeah.
And he made him go through without a fucking relic, and his mother had just died. And I'm like, really? You're such a fucking ass fucker.
Yeah.
I just, So they make him go through there. They wait for the 2 hours for Kingfisher. He doesn't come back, so they declare him dead. But then the pool spat Fisher back out, and Bellicon was pissed that he didn't die, really pissed, and ends up sending him off to a war camp to train. And it took Kingfisher like a lot of time to come back to himself, like to remember who he was and be
Mhm.
okay again. Now that day the pool closed, and it has stayed that way until now. He said a beast came through and killed all 6 of the guards that were standing guard there, and that's why Ren got caught. So they know they've got to go through it, and that's where the source of the brimstone is. So he is now Kaiden to Ceres, like she's going to stop using Kingfisher. She likes to use his real name. Ren literally warns him that going through is going to smell. And Ceres is like, what's this realm called? And he said it's never been officially named, but the undergods and the dragons they breed there call it Diaxis. He calls it hell. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, that's a lot. I'm so okay, but first of all, did I not call that we were going to a new realm to get dragons?
Yes, you
You
did.
called
I thought
it.
it was what by the time I got a certain way through this, I'm like, okay, maybe not then. Like they
Uh,
left it right till the
They
end.
did. She did. So this is one random thing, and I need to go back and read from whenever Kingfisher and Carrion are in Zelvarin. Because
Yeah.
Lords is like, oh, this portal stinks. It's so stinky, blah, blah, blah. But whenever
Mm.
they were traveling in Zelvarin through the tunnels, they mentioned how smelly it was. It's so stinky. And Carrion's like, oh God, I must not have been Fae before. So I'm wondering if maybe there's another ancient portal there that Madra's like able to use. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Maybe I'm jumping, but maybe that's how Joshin got there and the
Yeah,
rot and
maybe.
all of that. Like, I don't know.
That's intriguing.
Is it weird or does it make me a terrible person that I'm not thrilled that she brought Onyx back? I love, 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 love Onyx. I was fucking distraught whenever he died. But I already went through those emotions. Like I already went through that. And not only that, I feel like okay, she saved her fox. Yes. But she also cashed out her only trump card in a story that is clearly about to start demanding sacrifices. She no longer has this rune. It got her through the door to get to Kingfisher, to get to the paper, to find out his real name. Like, obviously, this rune can help you in very important situations. And now it's gone, completely gone. I don't know. Onyx has done a lot and he's been amazing, but he better continue on that trajectory if it is going to make this rune erasure worth it. I don't know. I love Onyx. I'm glad he's part of the story. I just don't know if it was worth losing that for.
I kind of get the feeling that the reason this needed to happen is because it will look like the Hazrak got the win. Like whatever she did, if she used the rune, I think we need to see her power as is. And I think that's why the rune had to go.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
just me.
know. I don't know. That's all I had on that one though.
Okay.
All right. So I'll do the next 2 chapters cuz this next chapter 51 is called The Obvious and it's a Kaiden chapter and all it says is I fucking hate dragons. So, all right, which, who wouldn't? They seem like they suck. Okay. So, chapter 52, Promises
Yep.
and Hope is a Sayrish chapter. So, they go through this portal. It's hot as balls. It's pitch black. They have a time limit of 2 hours and the goal is to bargain with the creatures to borrow brimstone.
Yep.
So, they see glowing eyes and they hear a voice say like bold of you to come here and it's a massive dragon. Also, the dragon can hear their mind speak.
Crazy.
Yeah, apparently dragons know all. So her master, the dragon's master is Styx, king of the dragons, and they are requesting an audience with him. So the dragon blasts them with fire, yet somehow misses, but the brimstone is able to rip through her shield.
Yeah.
And her body starts reacting to this brimstone, and she feels her body like tingling with this unfamiliar magic, which is so exciting. The dragon had spared them just for one reason, because Kai must go before her master for judgment.
Yes.
The crime is the murder of her offspring. Omniscia crime.
You
I
called that.
fucking
You
called it.
fucking
I
did,
it was
dude.
all in the POV chapters. That's where I got all of this from. Because I didn't call that Omniscia Cry was someone's kid, but I definitely called that it was the
No.
this cosmic target on his back.
Yeah, you said it. Look, I hope I don't come
But
back biting my ass.
but I thought it was because the dragons were gonna have, like, some collective conscience, but instead they can actually just look into and read everything in someone's
Yeah.
mind. So, I'd see I like being right, but I like being slightly wrong to where it's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay."
I love it. I didn't call that at all. You did.
Yeah. So they wake and they're hanging upside down and thousands of people are cheering them. They're both human and fae. And a creature orders that they be brought down. So when they
Yeah.
land, Kingfisher's shadows murder someone and disarm another. And I love that he was able to still joke here because he takes a female's arm. And she's like, "You disarmed them." And he's like, "Oh, you're sounding like Carrie and making jokes." I thought that was hilarious. And something that was interesting to me here was that even in killing these people and taking her arm, like they didn't make any sounds of pain, which
Yeah.
was weird. So we meet a male with black pits for eyes and another with glowing red coals for eyes, and they are Githrend and Crave. So they come and they approach R2, and Nimmerel starts to rattle. And she draws their attention, and they're like, "Where did you get that blade?" He said, "Where did you get that sword, pet?" Hate that he's calling him pet. But Kai says it was a gift from the gods. And the males identified this weapon as one from the dead houses, and it is capable of ending worlds. And they say that there's no way that he should be wielding it. So Kai dares him to try and take it from him. Here they mention that Kai not only killed Amnishakrai, but also that he killed Irith. And Irith was their father's emissary and the last thread of power in Yuvalia's.
Yeah.
The corrupt gods or dark gods that Irith, honored were, I guess, Styx. So for the fact that he murdered those, they will kill Kai and they will use Saris for breeding until she either dies or they grow tired of her. It's disgusting. So
Yes.
upon hearing that, obviously, Kai lashes out his shadows and they form this like semi-translucent wall between them and everybody else. And, we also learned that Kai has spent centuries trying to shield his mind from the dragons, and Saris
Yeah.
has had zero prep. So after seeing this display of shadows, Crave is rattled. And, obviously, because shadow magic doesn't belong in their realm, he
No.
demands to know where Kaiden got this power. And the answer is the same place that he got the sword. So both Kai and both males throw their shadows at each other, and the other two males fly back because their shadows are weak in comparison to our man's.
Of
So Kai
course.
is able to get a sword up to one of their throats and demand that they release Saris. So they do, and he asks Saris if she trusts him. And he says that he loves her and he kisses her. And then Crave says, "Who are you? Only half gods may wield shadows." To which Kai says, "I have come for a dragon, as is my right. Summon our father. Tell him I've come to make a trade."
I know.
What a fucking into a book. Go
And
off.
part of me was like, I wished I'd started this when I had book 3 ready to.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm wondering, I'm feeling like Callie is, holding our hand and guiding us to believe that Styx is Kaiden's father. Which maybe,
Yeah.
unless he's referring to him as a father, as in the father who gave them shadows, kinda how the vampires refer to Malcolm as their father, like,
Hmm.
their creator or gave him their powers, and maybe actually Finran is Kingfisher's father and Finran is Styx's kid, and so, yeah, he's demi-gay by lineage, but, like demi-gay,
Yeah.
demi-fae
You
by
know.
lineage, but not his direct son, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, that blew me away because we
Yeah.
talked about the fact that we didn't know if his dad was alive or dead before, and then to find out that it could potentially be Styx, and I'm like, I was glitching out. I was like, "Ugh, oh my
He's
god."
gotta be of Styx's lineage if he's not his son, because no one's gonna be able to wield a god sword without having the right to use it, so if this sword is actually
Right.
of this realm. But the dragon says, "You are not of this place," to Kaiden, and he responds, "We are not." So, if he was Styx's son, wouldn't the dragon be able to smell that on him? Or maybe not, maybe they just
Mm.
read minds and they don't use their scent as much. And who are the humans and fae in the crowd here?
That's well, I thought they were gonna be in. Oh, what are you gonna say? Say it.
No, because then they would be feeders. I'm wondering, okay, so this is okay. So whenever I said I was going to come back to it later, where Taylena was like, "Oh, Adina," or not Adina, Everlane, I can sense her, but she's shrouded in shadow. I'm wondering if her soul is in Diaxis, aka Shadow Realm, and
Oh.
now I'm wondering if maybe the people down there, the Fae and humans down there, are the ones infected with rot above.
Oh.
Maybe they're taking people through the portal whenever it opens every time a day, and they're the rot up and they're like just their souls are being projected down here, but they're actually still up there and they're the ones with the rot.
Well,
I don't know, that just popped
maybe.
into my head, maybe, but I think maybe Adina's soul is in Diaxis and that maybe Kingfisher or sorry, Kaiden and Saris will find her down there and be able to, like, bring her back and unite her with her body, AKA heal her.
That would be so sweet.
Yeah, but I don't know, there's something with that.
Yeah,
But
that definitely
also,
is.
if Kingfisher is an heir to Diaxis, why would he have been tortured whenever he went there as a child or as a Fateling?
Is it because he's half-breed?
Maybe. Maybe, maybe.
Because his mother is definitely Fae, right? Like, we have established that she was a Fae oracle, that she is not
Yeah,
something else, right?
yeah.
Maybe every other creature was born down there, and
Or
she
never
he
left. Maybe because he
or never
left, it was,
yeah.
like, shunning of him or something.
But it makes you wonder if Styx maybe took on the persona of a Fae to have a child with
Mhm.
Kingfisher's mom. I don't
But if she's an
know. And it's
oracle,
like, fuck,
shouldn't she have
I'm not going
known?
back. But would she? Because gods can stop things from being seen.
Yeah, or they can alter them.
Yeah.
So, one other thing I had a question about is when Loris told Saris of this alternate plan to get the Brimstone, he
Yeah.
made her promise that she wouldn't go. He said that she could technically go through with this plan without Kingfisher.
Mm,
And I mean, yes, she could travel through. I guess Loris didn't know that he had rights to a dragon, but Saris wouldn't have any rights to a dragon. So I don't know
no.
how she would have been able to conduct that plan without him.
Well, because Kingfisher said that they had to go make a deal with a dragon. So that she would have had to have given something to a dragon to get Brimstone. And maybe that was what Lorith was assuming would happen, that she could go in there, make a
Yeah.
deal, and bring it out. But it doesn't sound like that to me. It sounds like that dragon's got to come through, which is what you predicted in the first place.
Yeah, well, okay, so the making of the trade. So Adina's next book says read on after the trade. So there will be a trade. So what is Kingfisher going to trade? It's either going to be
Herself.
Nemerel, which I don't think, or like
No.
his services of sorts. He's sure as hell not going to trade. I don't think he's going to trade his sword or his mate. Absolutely not. But
But you've said that you think that there's a chance that the place has the soul of the feeders trapped there. Maybe he's going
maybe.
to offer up his soul to stay.
Oh no. I hope
I don't
not.
know. That would kind of fit.
Yeah. So I'm
Should we
also
both know Ceres will get him out?
yeah, she would. And I do still think that once she seals her brimstone rune, which is tingling while she's down there, so I think towards the beginning of the next book, we will see that, and then we'll start to see what kind of power she can do with that. But if the dragons are made of brimstone, she's going to be able to communicate with, or I don't think control fully, but maybe mildly, like coerce, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes. But
So
also,
am I.
so now we know that shadows are from this realm. So if Guru is made of
Yeah.
shadows, does that mean he's from Diaxis as well? And
Well,
I'm
it
wondering if the
sounds
blurring of his edges have to do with the opening of the portal gate. Like I said, the thinning between the realms because he doesn't belong.
yeah, maybe. Well, she was out did Algat create?
I don't know. I don't think so.
She was a witch
She was
using
a
dark
witch,
magic.
and the witches are related to or connected to
Yeah,
them,
I
so
don't
maybe.
know, man.
So
So many
I
questions.
know. And now that we have Kingfisher's name, I'm assuming we'll have a wedding at the end of the next book.
Well, that would be lovely.
Yeah, it'll
That
be
would be
really
nice.
lovely for them, but it'll also be really lovely because whenever like, just what if Archer's like the flower boy or something? Oh my god, he'll be so excited.
Finally gets the Adina's favorite flower.
Yeah, yeah, and then I think
You know
after
what?
all of that, I think Carrion will regrow Avelia, and he will
Yeah.
take his throne.
Mhm.
I had one more theory. So
Yeah, give it
if
to me.
Kingfisher is a demigod or a god, earlier, and I think it was in Quicksilver, maybe it was in this book, I think it was Quicksilver, when they were about to have sex or whatever, and Kingfisher was like, I'm gonna introduce you to all 7 gods. So I went back and I counted all the gods that we had met, right? And
Yeah.
if you count Baal and Mithrin as 2 separate gods, there are 7. But they were 1, and it said you get 2 for 1 because they
Yeah.
were 1 until they got split. So what if there are only 6 gods and Kingfisher was referring to himself?
Ooh,
I don't know.
that
I
would
was
be
like, "Oh,
something, wouldn't
maybe."
it? I'm hoping that they find a way to heal Ceres so that she can have a baby,
Yeah. Yes
'cause
and
that would
no.
be
I
really
don't I kinda like that she took that off the table. I do want them to get everything that they want, if they want that, but I don't really wanna read about it. Like,
yeah.
if it's in an epilogue, like, "We had a family, this and that," cool. But I don't want it I kinda like that she took the pregnancy option off the table because, like, in I
Really?
mean, I don't wanna spoil this for anybody, but, like, in, one of the SJM universes, I hated that trope. I hated it. I think it takes a female main character who could be a badass/warrior And I don't wanna say gives them a weakness because that's not the right way to say that, but it does. It takes them off the battlefield in a sense. And Saris is just she's had so much character growth in this book. I fell in love with her in this book particularly. And
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I want her to continue on that trajectory before she has to step back from it.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, it'd even just be nice to know that she has the potential to have that because Kingfisher was
Yes, I
really
would
upset.
love that. I would love
He was
that. I don't
so
necessarily wanna
upset.
see it play out though. I
No,
just
and
wanna
I'm okay with that as well, but to have the option for that, like, "Oh, you saved the realm," maybe Zeus like, "What can I give you?" The ability to be able to have a family would be nice.
Yeah, or maybe I mean, this is kind of off. It probably would never happen, but maybe he'll because, now Kaiden has half brothers, I guess. Maybe he'll have like a failing one or something down there that they'll end up like adopting. I don't know.
Aw, that would even be really
Yeah,
cute.
something. But I absolutely over this book, I loved Sarah's character growth. Like I said, I liked her before, but I love her now. She's
Yeah,
badass. And I loved Kingfisher and Carrion's bromance. It was
me too.
beautiful. And I giggled my ass off throughout this entire book. Like
I
it was
did
just,
too.
I love this book. And honestly, I don't know. I might even like it better than Quicksilver. I like them both. I like them both. They're both 5 stars for me.
I really enjoyed them. You know what? I felt like Brimstone took a different path. So the first one was like she kinda don't like him. They're figuring things out as they gone, and I feel like we've got the solid storyline now. Like, we know where it's heading now,
Yeah.
and that's exciting because Quicksilver, I'm like, "Fuck, where's this going?" I felt like my head was spinning, like
It
it was
really was
insane.
a very, very chaotic, very, look here, no, look here, oh, wait, look what?" Yeah, it was
Yeah,
all
like, it was
I
I
love
feel
that,
like
though. I love
I
that.
feel like some things have been, like, dealt with now, and we're kind of funneling to the finish, and that's
Well,
what I
you
appreciate about
say
this.
that, but we still have the Rot, we still have Madra, we still have Bellicon, we now have Dragon/Brimstone/N Styx that we have not even been introduced to, like, there are so many loose ends that we need to tie up and then get to our happy ending in one book. So I'm
Yeah.
calling that
Well,
the next book is Salt, and I'm calling that it's gonna be, like, 800 pages.
holy frick, yes, yes.
It's gotta
Yeah.
be.
I don't know, she wrapped up a lot of stuff in Brimstone, that was 650,
Yeah,
right? 650 pages.
it's a lot.
She really did a good job of tying up a lot.
She did.
So I think that she might be able to get it done pretty quick.
I enjoy her as an author a lot.
I do as well, I really do as well. I think that she made the right call, self-publishing, to, finally get a book deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Me too. It's a real shame that we do not have the next book yet, but when it does come out, we will recap the last 2 books, and then we'll do a deep dive on the 3rd and final book on that. And did we settle on doing One Dark Window
Yeah,
next?
let's do it. I already downloaded it on my Kindle. I'm ready.
Okay, perfect.
You have
So
not
we're
read
gonna
it,
do
right?
No, I've never read it.
It's so good. You
This is
read Night
I'm
in
a
the Moth though,
first-timer,
right?
baby. What?
You read Night in the Moth?
Yes.
Okay, so she does have that, like, gothic fantasy, kinda darker, slow burn style, but this I feel like Night in the Moth was slower than One Dark Window. I think One Dark Window picks up it's the magic system is similar-esque to, like, tarot card style, like, they have
Ooh.
cards that provide the magic. It's so unique. It's good.
I'm excited. Like I said, I got the, sprayed edge copies of both because it's a duology, right? Like,
Yes, it's done.
it's yeah. And it was on sale for, like, their Black Friday, and I had to.
Yeah, I shoulda got it because
Never
I lent my 2 out to a friend, but she lives, like, 6-hour drive
Oh,
away from me, so I only see her every now and then, and she hasn't gotten around to reading them yet because she's obsessed with Dungeon Crawler Carl, and she's listening to it for a 3rd time, which I just started it, and I am so into it.
what is it? What's it called?
Dungeon Crawler Carl. It
Uh,
is, the best way I would wrap it up, and I'm only, like, 12 to 15 chapters in, I don't even remember. But it is essentially, like, all the humans who were inside buildings, like, died, and all the
oh,
people who were outside have now been abducted and taken into, like, an alien Hunger Games arena thing, and it's like they're in a video game, like, they get health packs and potions, and there's all these, like, monsters and shit that they have to fight. It's weird as fuck, but I'm all about it.
okay,
It's a
you
good
need to
time.
then send me the title in WhatsApp so I
Okay,
can have a look and see if Libby has it.
I will.
But I'm definitely excited to get started on One Dog Window.
Yes.
We'll probably be recording that next week. Are we gonna how are we
It
separating this?
is broken up into 3 parts. So I'm down to do 3, and if we wanna film, on weekdays during that, it'll be shorter segments. So,
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
yeah, we'll just
Let's break
it looks like it's between I think the last one is shortest and it's 7 chapters, but it's around 12 to 14 chapters for each other one. So it'll still
Yeah,
be a good
perfect.
yeah.
That works for me. So if you'd like to join us for doing One Dot Window by Richard Gillig, join us next week. We'll do part 1. You can find us on our social medias. Hanna is on Instagram at the toppling TBR _ Hanna. I'm on Instagram too, the toppling TBR _ Stacey. You can find our Facebook page at the toppling TBR. We're on Spotify and YouTube at the toppling TBR. We hope that you have the reading week you deserve, guys, and we will see you next week.
Yeah. See you later.
Take care, readers.